Okay, hit time. Go live.
Oh, this is gonna be super unenergetic.
Yeah. Well, this is what I say. You just gotta wing it. We're winging it today, chat.
The weather ain't looking so good.
Weather report. I mean, we could
I
just make
still have
JoJo memes.
We could.
Hello, chat. I present to you a lovely image of a rainbow today. Because, hypothetically, today, we will be talking about the weather. Not literally. Though, if it gets too much worse. It's a balmy 56 degrees Fahrenheit right now, mostly clear. If it gets a little chilly, I might have to complain. But, no, we're here to talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype called the weather.
Well, let me just do a quick double check about my weather situation.
Yeah.
But no, whether we talk about which weather is going to be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we can start right away with the fact that as an archetype name, the weather is probably one of the most unusual and hard to discuss archetypes. In the OCG,
Yeah.
it is just called Tenki, which is, I think, literally translated as weather. For instance, I think she's just the one that appears first in the list. What is weather painters, or specifically the weather? Every monster in the TCG is rendered as the weather. The weather painter Snow is just Yukitenki Shiru. So it's Snow Weather Seal, for example. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, that flows in Japanese, but it doesn't really work in English. So I have heard this referred to as the weather painters, which obviously that works for the monsters because those are all in the TCG anyway, called weather painter, blah, blah, blah. Weathery, as in related to the weather, etc. Most of the translations are better in other languages. In French, Italian, and Spanish, they're all basically that language's word for meteorological. So it's just like meteorological snow. It works. Portuguese is of the weather, which is a little wordy, but they at least get that across with just one word, do Klima. And German is Witterung.
Oh, damn it, I just tried to Google the German version.
Nah, it's weather.
So, quick thing. Over here in wonderful my part of Australia, it is currently 84.2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ah, warm.
Warm.
A pleasant
Always warm.
warmness.
If it's not summer, it's super summer.
Yeah. But yeah, so just immediately ignore all the puns. You guys should hopefully know what we're talking about when we talk about weather or the weather and say all the names.
Yes.
And yes, if you're curious, it is just me and Loft for now. Mars is super busy, apparently. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Axe should be here. He went out of his way to say that he would be here after coming home from work, but he's not here, despite the many warnings that the stream would be starting.
Yes.
He'll probably be watching the stream, but he'll still do the other thing that he's doing right up to the point where I show a card, and then he'll be like, I was here the whole time. You guys weren't talking about anything yet. I was talking. We're talking about the archetype right now, if you're listening, Axe. And Dallas, I don't fucking know. He said, like, on Tuesdays he may or may not be here. He's a green light on Discord, and I've added him, but he's not here, so I don't know. I may need to have a conversation with him sometime about how his status of being here on Discord works, about, like, letting me know whether or not he's actually free after work.
We can always do the patch that's somebody patrol.
I mean,
Oh shit, there he is!
well, it
What are you
kind of
talking
worked.
about? What are you talking about?
We're talking about the weather.
The fact that
Oh yeah, the
he
snowstorm
was-
happening.
No, you. Well, he played right into the joke, Loth. He walked right into it.
I also know you're playing Weber, yeah?
Okay, we're in the stream. It's quite
What
a
now?
face. Sorry. Loth's posting a gift chat. Sorry. Okay. Anyway.
It's okay. I'm just slightly proud of my annoying.
So, the weather as an archetype is broken into two parts we've talked about. There is the monsters are called Painter, the Weather Painter. And then, because, God forbid the TCG give us a improper there, it's the Weather X Canvas. So it's the Weather Canvases and then the Weather Painters. Usually you can see in, their card art what each painter has as, a little painty tool. The solo mode is all about how these little fairies literally, paint on the weathers. They'll create, rain, sun, snow, winds, etc. And we mentioned this earlier, me and Loth. They are probably one of the most unique playing decks we've got in Yu-Gi-Oh! Every so often, there will be an archetype. Usually they come out of deck build packs. Another great example of this recently is Valiance, a set of cards that ask you to play an entirely different game inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! You can also see this with shit like Flower Guardians, etc., where you are basically playing a completely different game than most normal decks work on. And that is also the weather. So to simplify what that means, because we'll be explaining all of this later, and we will have to talk about all the spell traps.
Yes.
The way the weather works is you have the monsters, the painters, and then you've got the canvases. All of the canvases, which are continuous spells and traps, go in your back row and then enable a weather painter that is in the same column or the adjacent columns the ability to use an effect as if it was their monster effect. So they're triggered by the spell traps, but they're actually monster effects. Though, admittedly, being continuous, it's really easy to stop all of them with a MST or Cosmic Cyclone or whatever. And then the painters all have their own individual effects. They are also a heavily banish-related archetype. Most of them either banish for the canvas effect or as their own effects they banish, etc., etc. So there's a lot of stuff going on to get them out there, and we'll be looking through all of them. They're very interesting. Some people argue that they're not that hard to play. Other times it's, they are the most complex archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think, as usual, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. They're not actually that, hard to parse, but playing them correctly and playing them well requires an extra amount of brain power with positionals and stuff that most people don't want to be bothered. And also, quite frankly, it's one of those cases where it's just not worth it, even after a little bit of extra support recently in the TCG and also in Master Duel. They're not really that great, though obviously they have left themselves a big stonking window for more support, because literally at the top of my notepad document where I write down the lists of all the cards we're going to talk about. I do that every time. Luckily, I had this from last week because we had some scheduling stuff come up. But literally at the top of my notes, in all caps, where is red? Because you're going to see when we talk about them, the main deck monsters are all named after or indicate, they're named after weather phenomena, but they indicate colors of the rainbow, starting at orange. So right at the top, you've got red. Everybody remembers Roy G. Biv. Or at least I hope you do. There's no red. Now, admittedly, they might have started this way because they were a deck build pack. By the way, this came out in Spirit Warriors. This was the same set that gave us Magic Muskets and Secret Six Samurai. One of these things is not like the other.
I will say that
Yeah?
Weather Painters feel like a deck that would be great in a different game.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like, they play Yu-Gi-Oh! Very differently than how everybody else plays it. And
If there were alt formats, I feel like Weather Painter would be really cool as a format that required continuous spells to do things. But I don't know. I don't design formats.
yes, It's good. It's good you don't design formats. I have no idea what the fuck you just said to me.
What?
A format which requires continuous spell traps to do things. That's all formats. Continuous spell traps must do a thing. Wait, that's not true. The original Toon World is a continuous spell card. It doesn't do anything. Never mind. I take it back. Yu-Gi-Oh's dumb.
As it's required for, or it would be required for other cards to actually be able to do things.
Yeah, but we don't like that because it's really complex. Anyway, so Konami has a really easy out. I suspect that they did not do that way originally because the original 6 main deck monsters are each individual one of the attributes, and then Rainbow was their original Link monster, was light, and now they've done Moonbow, which is dark. But that does mean that they've doubled up. There are 2 lights and 2 darks in this deck. While both of those are in the extra deck, there's no reason why you couldn't double up and do a second fire one. Give us, Weather Painter Firestorm, Weather Painter Drought, Weather Painter Sprite, because that's what the sprites are, is they're the big red lightning that's in the stratosphere, whatever. Like, you can come up with what this is and make it count. You can give Dallas a panic attack wherever he is right now, Weather Painter Fire Tornado, whatever works. By the way, I also think that their implement, their art supply, as the Wikipedia puts the table, painting knife. Use the palette knife. Perfect. Boom. I've done your entire work for you, Konami. You can send me the royalty check.
A knife.
I mean, if it was a palette knife, you'd just go, oh, that's not that bad. Gonna want to mix the alizarin crimson.
I kind of really wish it would be a joke if we ever actually had a red. It would be a joke that it's like, sometimes he paints with blood.
I mean, you could make that joke if you had the palette knife. That'd be pretty good. So the weather's very direct, like I said. There's only 6 main deck monsters and 2 extra deck monsters currently, and then there is a spell trap equivalent for all of the original main decks and then Rainbow. And then there's a field spell which is separate called the Weather Forecast. So we're just going to probably burn through these in order and kind of talk about them because there's not really any other way to do this. God damn it. Double goddammit, it's Loth! Like, who the fuck be posted in Hell Not Safe and Work giving me notification while I'm trying to stream?
Yeah, it's me.
It's the call. The call is coming from inside the VC.
Look, I'm scrolling through Twitter and saw something really nice. I was like, I'll share that.
Alright, okay. I'll start pulling up card arts.
Maybe you shouldn't be looking at Hello Not Safe for Work while on stream.
Well, there's a post there, and I'm like, get that notification out of here. Who's done it? Who's done this?
It's a portrayal.
I'm sorry, I'm always holding on main.
Alright.
It's how people live sometimes.
I can just...
I forgot this guy. Yeah, look at him.
He's just a happy dude. He's painted in the sun.
No, he's a dwarf.
Possibly.
No,
they are
because-
kind of small.
No, because if he was a dwarf, he'd be ashamed not wearing a helmet. Never mind.
Different kind of dwarfs.
Yeah, it's a different kind of dwarf.
I'll just, do the easy thing, and we'll just grab both the card arts at once.
Also, I just realized, holy fuck, the fact that he's got no irises.
Yeah, he's just a little fairy guy with orange eyes. Set that little chat. There you go. It shouldn't be a problem. This chat scrolls up. So this is our first one. We're starting just going down the line prismatically. Orange, Weather Painter Sun.
Yep.
The Weather Painter Sun. I will say, I think the OCG name is a little more interesting. That's Seitenki Bengara. That's clear weather Bengara, so specifically saying it's a clear sky. But that does mean it is sunny.
I feel like a TCG would make the joke of something like clear weather would be like a fucking see-through or white person.
Yeah, you
Like
could
white
work
road.
on that.
I really,
Clear skies.
I don't really have much to say besides I like that there's a lot of layers of color.
Yeah,
outside the
so
fun, and like the actual like paint. There's a mix between like being digital art and like paint art of like the canvas card art.
yes, the background for Sun and the sunny canvas actually has like a very dedicated brushwork. Somebody had a lot of fun in Clip Art Studio or whatever. I also want to say, you talk about the colors. They do a great thing, I think, with Sun and with some of the others we're going to see, where obviously his dominant color is orange, but they have a lot of different layers of orange and orange-adjacent colors. Like, there's some almost gold oranges in here as well.
I was gonna say like I was saying neighborhood, but no, adjacent. That's a lot of adjacent colors that make it pop really nicely.
Yeah.
I swear, you could put a crown on this guy, and he would not look at a place in like a fantasy novel or manga.
Yeah, he's just a happy guy. I mean, he's kind of got like a
Sun
halo.
Lord.
He's a big happy guy. I will say, it's not a detraction, but I want to observe compared to lots of other Yu-Gi-Oh archetypes, he does look kind of cartoonish. Like, he's got a very, very big poofy coat, big pants, kind of a rounded face. This guy unironically ho-ho-hos.
Yeah,
But-
he would.
He's holding a brush, and he's holding his palette. I feel like the like size ratio and the grip on the brush is a little weird. I'm not like an expert painter, but I don't know if I guess if you're painting big, like he's painting a whole sky, you wanna. It's more like an industrial style paint if you're painting a wall. But yeah, it's all right. So what Sun himself does. He is a level 3 Fire Fairy, by the way. 1600 attack, 400 defense. If this card's in your graveyard, send a face-up continuous spell trap you control to the graveyard. Special summon him in defense position if you do. Place 1 The Weather spell trap from your hand face-up in your spell trap zone. You can only use this effect of The Weather Painter Sun once per turn. Once returning to the standby phase of the turn after this card was banished from the field to activate The Weather. So, by the way, chat, you can see what I mean by like how this is the most unintuitively named archetype ever. Reading all of their card effects are awkward as fuck. The Weather card's effects.
I think it's
Special summon
because
this card.
I think it's because they have cards called like weather forecast and so on.
Well, their field spell is The Weather Forecast. Like I said, you weren't here yet, but in Japanese, it's just called Tenki, which the letters they use translate to weather. I think that the way like I said this before, the Spanish, Italian, and what language was that actually? And the French, yeah, it's all those Romance languages. The way they handle this, they just call them meteorological. That would probably have made it flow a lot better if it was, for instance, meteorological painter sun. That's a little more technical. That's not as like whimsical as the weather painter sun. But God, it would make my job reading this fucking card a lot easier. Just saying, Konami. So yeah,
GW.
Sun is an okay card. He requires you to have a continuous spell trap already, so he doesn't really get you anything if you're starting, but he has a good extender because he lets you send one, special him, and then place a new one to replace it. So you can kind of swap out your effects. It's good for later game if you're having an issue where your back row gets clogged. That can absolutely happen when painting weather. But it's not a good starter, so Sun, I believe, takes some usual... like, he is not the most important boy. And we'll talk about what Sunny does in a second, but I did also just think, I want to check, have there ever been any The Weather top decks?
So whenever the one time Dallas would be extremely useful.
Okay. Let's see. So Top Cut in a regional in 2019. And then, as recently as last year in 2022, somebody got 19th place. So not toppest cut, but into the day 2 of a regional. And they are in fact playing it pure. Looking at the list from 2019, it's 3 Ash, 1 Sun. So yeah, Sun in the versions of this deck that have ever done anything, Sun has only played it 1. It's like 1 Sun, 1 Aurora, because she's a big brick, 2 Cloud, 3 Snow, 3 Thunder. Pots of Dualities, Pots of Extravagance. Wow, they were only running Rainy and Snowy Canvas, damn. Well, that's in spells, I guess. They also have Rainbowed and Thundering traps. 2 Waking the Dragon, 3 Solemn Strike. Ooh, Skill Drone and Macro. So, yeah, this person who did good in these regionals and stuff playing a lot of stun mixed in there. They're playing like 3 lose 1 turn as a trap. Like a lot of weird stuff. Let me look at the one from last year, 2022. Real quick before we get into Sunny Canvas. Oh yeah, okay. I can tell this was done in a certain meta. 3 DD Crow, 3 Dimension Shifter, 3 Planet Pathfinder. They're just playing 3 copies each of Cloud, Snow, and Thunder. Oh, it's a Mind deck. That's what it was. Okay. They're playing 3 Mystic Mine, 2 Demise of the Land. So they were playing Mystic Mine Weather Painters. So yeah, that can tell you all you need to know, I think, about this archetype's history. It is, unfortunately, a deck that to have any competitive success, you have to play as a stun deck. Shit like Mystic Mine, lose 1 turn, summon blockers, shit like that.
I've immediately lost all respect.
Well, luckily they can't do that anymore. Mine is banned. Hopefully forever. But so, Sunny Canvas is a continuous spell card, so it's one of the spells. And then it says, so to remind everybody how this works, the weather effect monsters in your main monster zones of this card's column and its adjacent columns gain this effect. So this is our first time looking at one of those. All of them say that your effect monsters that are the weather in your main monster zones gain that effect in columns and adjacent columns. And then the effect it actually gets is, you can banish this card, referring to the monster. Target a monster you control, a quick effect, tribute that target, summon a weather from your hand or graveyard, but not with the same name as the tributed monster. You can only control 1 Sunny Canvas. So Sunny Canvas is a weird one. Also to throw out there, they're called canvases in the TCG and the OCG. They are called weather conditions. Tenki Moyo. So this one's clear weather condition. I definitely feel like Sunny Canvas has a better vibe to it, but yeah, Sunny Canvas is another tech card. It requires you to banish and tribute, but it lets you summon from hand or graveyard. So it's when you've got some guys, it's a way to get Aurora out because she's bigger, a way to get extra presence on board. But considering your ideal is to make a Link monster, who I believe the original Rainbow is Link 3? Moonbow has some slightly different stuff we'll get into later, but to play this card, you have to go -1 just to cycle a guy. It's not the greatest. So you don't see Sunny Canvas played a whole lot, but it can be a tech option to actually let you special summon. Now, the next one actually does matter. Because after orange, yellow. We're going to learn about our colors and numbers today, chat. Won't you be my neighbor, chat?
No.
Anyway, look at this
Oh
dude.
my God, which one's the
Look at
2
this
that's
guy.
sprite compatible?
Are one of these? I don't think so. I don't think any of the good ones are 2s. Sadly. But look at this. Look at this dude. Look at this little gremlin.
Who is it?
Hey!
Look at the stream. It's Thunder.
No, I meant
No, it's Marv.
Marv
Oh,
finished dinner.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. For reasons of not annoying the shit out of people, I don't have, like, notification noises in Discord turned on.
Yeah. Yes, understandable.
It would be weird. Okay, and that is Thundery Canvas. So here is Thunder.
He's a cute little boy.
Yeah. We've
He's
got
having
some...
a good time.
Good?
It was plasma crayon.
Yeah. It's got a little...
He gives off big injection fairy lily vibes.
I think that's kind of what they're going for here.
Yeah, that's certainly it.
So, I like some of the more slightly, like, Japanese mythology influences. He's got little Oni horns. You know, there's a lot of, Raijin and Fujin.
He's a
kind
Raijin,
of,
yeah.
They get the rubber boots.
Yeah, little rubber boots with lightning bolts. I also want to say, Axe pointed this out last time with Sun and how he looked like a painting. There's like a real like wax crayon effect in the backdrop of Thunder here. Same with some of the stuff in Thundery Canvas, right? Like maybe not the actual lightning bolts; those are a little too luminous. But like some of the backdrops
It's trying
are
to
clouds.
emulate what their actual like style of painting is.
Yeah,
or the
so
style
that's
of
nice.
artistry.
That's a lot of detail you don't catch, especially because, as I said, these were originally printed in a deck build pack, which is all foils. So, you know,
Honestly, if the foils were like colored specifically, that would have been nice, but that's expensive. So.
there are some like special foil names, but that's only the naming in like certain reprint sets. But this was a secret rare originally. I'm sure you wouldn't have been able to tell anything about him in secret rare, like in person. So Thugly Master Duel gives us clear-cut ones, but you see a lot of the thing with same with Sun here with adjacent colors. Like he actually has some green in his coat here and the green camo pants.
Yeah.
Some bright yellows. It's a good outline. I have questions about the art of Thundery Canvas. Like
Make
how
thunder-
it looks like
make it
he's
light
laying
enough.
waste to a suburban neighborhood.
No, I think it's outside the house, but like, because honestly, it reminds me of the girl's house that's shown in the story mode for the letter painters, where she's the one. It's her mother telling the story of the fairy, so I think it's her house.
Yeah, that fits the vibes they gave. It's a lot of, as a person who lives in a state that has lots of thunderstorms and lightning strikes, that's still a lot. There's still a lot of lightning strikes.
Go up
Little
the writing
spooky.
myth. It's just he's having fun drawing and writing his plasma crayon.
It's true. But yeah,
He's you can't tell me. You can't say this and say he's not having a good time.
no, you are correct. He is
Yeah.
having a good time. I also want to shout out his little fairy wings are lightning bolts.
Yep.
Yes.
Little details. Anything else you want to say about Sunda?
I like that the clouds are like with their crayon drawing.
This. What love?
No, just repeating what Omega said earlier.
It happens sometimes. It's fine. We're not all paying attention all the time. All right. So,
Also, sorry, I would just say one thing I like. It looks like he's fucking destroying a village on the right. You see a house.
well, now you're repeating something I said earlier.
Good.
We're all here. This is the brain trust. Okay.
I'm leading into the joke.
Raitenki Tamaru is his name. I think Painter Thunder works a little better. So this is a light fairy, 3 stars, 1700 attack, 0 defense. And his normal effect is you can send one face-up continuous spell trap you control to the graveyard. Place the weather spell trap from your deck face-up in your spell trap zone. You can only use this effect of Thunder once per turn. Then during your standby phase, if it was banished, special summon the banished card. So you'll have noticed when I talked about some of those top decks earlier, Thunder is usually played at 3. Thunder is not necessarily the greatest starter, but it just says continuous spell trap. So any other bullshit you want to put in here,
Yeah.
and like I said, Weather Painter, unfortunately, because of its weirdness, lends itself to being played with stun cards.
Yeah.
You can play a lot of these guys with shit like Messenger of Peace, Gravity Bind, etc. And
Yeah.
Thunder can just get rid of them when you need to.
Yep. I think also skill drain.
Yeah, Skill Drain was actually played in some. The one from 2019 I brought up earlier played the one copy of Macro they're allowed.
Wow.
Because these guys don't really care about being banished a lot. They involve a lot of banishment.
They love it just going
Yeah.
to the banish pile.
So, yeah, Thunder really, unfortunately, enables that play style because he does the thing that shit like True Draco and Eldritch can do, which is just, oh, when you're done with this floodgate, bye.
Yep.
Yeet. And it just,
Yeah.
from your deck, places a spell trap, which I do believe means that they can't do things that, like, trigger on activation, because you're not activating those spell traps, you are placing them in your spell trap zone. So I do believe,
Yeah.
because that is worded that way, that dodges some levels of interaction. Obviously, it doesn't help you if your opponent's playing any of the quick play, like Cyclone type shit, like MST, Twin Twister, Cyclone,
Yeah.
Cosmic Cyclone, etc. But it can get around certain forms of like negation when you play the effects, not when you activate them. And also, hey, guess what? Thundery Canvas is also one of the good ones. Now, that's a trap, so you do got to set it up first. But Thunder does say you place it face up, so you can just put traps face up as well. But Thundery Canvas effect is just when you trigger its effect monster effect is at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, banish this card and then return that opponent's monster to the hand. So basically, it turns all of your monsters into a compulse
Compulse?
or ideal or ordeal of traveler type
Mole.
effect. Yeah, Grand Mole. All your monsters become Grand Mole, basically. They banish themselves, but they come back during the standby phase, and that monster gets bounced.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Thundery Canvas is, like, the most telegraphed play in the entire world. But because you can place it face up on your turn with monsters like Thunder Painter, you can get around some stuff and actually, push monsters around. I should note that this doesn't target. It just banishes the card that is battling to return that monster to the hand. So you can get around some stuff that way. So it's an okay card. You see it a lot. It's one of the primary ways that Weather Painters can actually get rid of your opponent's cards and do damage.
Yeah, and they're also a very slow build-up sword deck.
Yeah, there's a lot of careful placement of cards.
Like, I think they would really need a field spell that enables like 3 different effects that helps them.
Well, I believe their very recent field spell, Weather Forecast, does do a lot, but we'll check how far it actually gets when we get there. So, after yellow is Grin. If you guys remember your basic rainbow.
I like green.
So this
That's
is
because I
Weather
like green.
Painter Aurora and Auroral Canvas. So Aurora's got a big paint roller.
Yep.
It looks a lot more like a lamp in this case, but I guess that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I think so, to spread the light, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the background on the painter form is like necessarily as artistic as it could be. It just kind of looks a little generic. The canvas though looks really good, like very well showing that painted on effect. And yeah, if anybody else got anything to say, I don't really got a lot to say about Aurora. She's just kind of here.
I mean, the audience can't see this, but I immediately posted a Steam hand here.
Yeah.
That's my first immediate thought.
I know I'm
Uh,
weird about it, but like she reminds me of like a Precure character.
I mean, she does kind of have that. So
She has like kind of like that like
Magical
I
girl.
guess digital animation pastel kind of feel to her.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. I
Digital
was trying to find the
pastel?
words for it. Yeah, she's got a very very soft, very specific type of anime look to her, as opposed to like
Gel. It's like gel paints, honestly.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, there are some. Oh, sorry, Mom.
I do like the design of it. It's also very... As someone who's played Weather Painters, I know exactly what attributes this thing is, but the way this how it's portrayed in this art makes it seem like a totally different attribute.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a wind, but it could be ice.
No,
or
no, no.
water.
Aurora is the main deck Dark Monster. Yeah.
Why would she?
Which is really
Why
well
does she have
because
a wind
you
or
can
a
only
light?
see the aurora at night. Duh. But it's really weird because you would think this should be light or wind because she's the green one, but no, this is the dark one. And this is why it doesn't matter that sun is already fire. The new red one can also be fire. We can work it out, chat. But yes, other than that, her design language is a little weird for the way Yu-Gi-Oh works with the green. I think she is a perfectly cromulent character design.
I appreciate or just enjoy the weird, because we've seen the wings of the other ones, and this lady just has interesting looking wings.
Yeah, she's got some weird going on here. She's got her coat. I also like the little
it's some
like
kind of-
positive and negative, like because it's electromagnetic.
yeah.
I enjoy that the canvas lets you see like her full design.
Yeah, you can see everything from the back and stuff. It's good. Also, the canvas has, like I said, just really beautiful brushwork. Shout out to whoever drew this. So Aurora, who, funnily enough, by the way, her name in the OCG is Kyokutenki, Polar Weather.
Makes much more sense.
Polar Weather Lambla or Ranbura. They gave them all cute names in the OCG, but also they're kind of confusing sometimes. Anyway, Aurora is your dedicated main deck big boy, big lady. We've talked about this a lot with Dual Terminal, and even today. Konami will often jam at least one main deck quote-unquote boss monster into a lot of archetypes that probably don't need them. So Aurora is your one of those in Weather Painter. She is a dark fairy. Level 6, she requires 1 tribute normally. She has 2200 attack, 2k defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can place the Weather spell trap from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell trap zone. Your opponent cannot target the Weather spell traps you control with card effects, and they can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn during your standby phase, if the card is banished, special summon it back. So, Aurora should be a really great card for Weather Painter. She immediately lets you place a Weather spell trap from literally anywhere, hand, deck, or graveyard. Just on summon. You don't need to send anything or tribute anything, and she gives your spell traps protection. The problem is that her place effect is only on a normal summon, and she's a level 6 in an archetype that is otherwise all low levels, and you may remember when I talked about Sun earlier, he makes you, go -1 to summon back a guy from your hand or graveyard. So if you special summon Aurora via Sun's effects, you don't even get her Omni Place effect. So I think Aurora is just an awkward case. Like, you probably play, one of her for the names, and if you can get her out, she's great for a big swing. But she's very awkward. I feel almost like, and I don't necessarily think they should go fully this way, but I almost feel like Weather Painter, if you were going to turn any archetype into a weird pendulum archetype, you should do it with Weather Painter. Just make pendulum monsters that also count as canvas scales. You've got the 2 text boxes, you can do it. And honestly, that would probably help them out a lot, because as discussed, they're really bad at swarming the field, and I think they really would appreciate if they could get more guys out faster.
Yeah.
And just don't do that.
It's like, hey, I banished myself. Do you do anything? I get a guy.
Yeah. So, Auroral Canvas is also not played a lot because it's got a very weird disruption effect. It's like Darklaw at home. But basically, its effect is it gives an effect monster. When exactly 1 card is added to one player's hand, except during the damage step, banish this card, banish the added card, that player draws 1 card. So basically, your opponent searches a card, they add something. You can be like, no, you banish their card, banish your card, which special summons itself back because it's a weather, and then they draw another card to replace it. If this was just a straight-up hand rip, if this was just Darklaw, just hey, you added a card, fuck you, banish a card, that would be a lot better.
Yeah, this seems like, well, I know you said Darklaw at home. I think it's Trickstar Reincarnation at home.
I don't... Home is very far away then, because Reincarnation lets you banish a lot of cards.
It banish 6, well, it's banish 1, draw.
Yeah. Darklaw's monster effect is if your opponent adds a card to their hand, you banish a random card from their hand.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very similar to Master of Darklaw.
Kind of different to what is it? Z-Arc, which is similar thing, but it just, hey, they added the card, destroy it. That card's gone.
So it's not necessarily the worst effect. It's just because it's a trap one and you have to banish for this. This screams archetypal side deck card. If you know your opponent is doing a lot of searching of exactly 1 key card that you need to get rid of, I could see you side decking an Auroral Canvas. As it is right now, there's way better continuous traps you can use to make your opponent hate themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can right now, currently in the TCG, you could play 3 copies of, actually in both versions of the game, because the OCG already had this way, but you could play 3 copies of Macrocosmos in your deck. That'd probably be more effective than Auroral Canvas.
Yeah.
At just telling your opponent to not play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright. Let's see. I need to step away for a hot second, so I'm going to to mute and deafen myself so you guys can go about your business. Don't worry about it on stream. And I will leave chat with the music for a hot second. I'll be right back. It's just you and me, chat. I'll be right back. Try not to cause any disruption while I'm gone. Don't paint the walls with your fingies. Alright, careful now. Ugh, you might get yourself blasted by YouTube if you keep doing that. Okay.
I'm
I'm back.
I think, yeah.
Don't do that. Chat was
Welcome
having some
back.
fun while I was gone, I see.
Marth mentioned a really good idea. If you'd like to repeat it.
Yeah, I'll repeat it. It would be interesting if Master Duel added a solo mode for Quackamiru.
I have had that thought before myself, yes.
But then
Quackamiru would be
again,
really...
I think it would be just like slant. I think probably like at least one of the choices they would probably pick is like add Masterpiece and just choose the rock Quackamirus.
Yeah, you could do the rock variant, which is pretty interesting. But
I
there's
don't
a
know
lot of
what
stuff
else the
there.
other ones.
I would also love the excuse to talk about Kawakimerus on here because they're weird. Their design language is
apparently
really
there's
weird.
a master story guide on them too, which is very weird. They're all otherworldly experiments.
Yeah, I believe they're related to Mr. Kozuki.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it. There's a lot of cute Yuki-Onna adjacent type cards in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yep. So after Gren becomes Bleh. So we do a very common thing where ice and snow is blue.
Right,
Yes,
And I would love to-
Fairytale
I would-
Wait,
Love to post Snowy Canvas's art if the Yugipedia and Google Chrome wasn't being really weirdly slow right now. What is your
Yeah.
problem? I need you to pick it up. There we go. Okay, we found the server. We found the thing. We're going. All right. All right, and I'm going to try and see if this happens. Nope, yep. I knew that would be wrong because it's being weird and blurry. What the Wikipedia, have you decided to, like, you know, maintain some servers or something right now? What the fuck? Come on. Wake up.
Nah, that's just having
You
some
can't
trouble.
get anything done today. Sorry, the file can't be displayed. Seems to be a technical issue. Oh god, I gotta fucking log in to report problems. I literally can't access Snowy Canvas. It's fucking borked. What the fuck?
First, yeah, I can't access it.
Okay, there we go. I refreshed the page. Now it's working. Okay, alright. So, under blue, we have whatchamacallit? Snow. Yuki Tenki Shiru. Mentioned her name earlier.
Yep.
Now, so, this is snow. Now, snow is not rain. That said, chat, I want you to look at this. Look at this adorable little snow girl. Look how blue she is. Look how she's got a little airbrush gun for the snowflakes. Tell me what attribute this card is, chat. Not type. They're all
Wait.
fairies. Tell me what attribute this is.
It has to
Wait,
be. It can't be water. That'd be too obvious.
I'm gonna
Is
go with
it-
light.
I'm thinking.
Is it light and she's supposed to go Boreas?
I forgot, so I'm going to just say like.
Okay, so we got some waters and some winds in chat. No, you are all wrong. She is the earth one.
Why?
I
No,
don't
because-
know.
Because
Gonna
she
make it-
covers the earth with snow.
I guess.
Gonna
It's,
make it-
listen, Axe. We ran out of attributes. Spoilers for later. Rain Painter is the water one, but still,
Oh, okay.
like, she's
Why
got an
couldn't they-
airbrush. She could have been the wind one. I don't. It's weird. Okay.
Why couldn't they have made a weather painter sandstorm?
That'd be pretty cool. Listen,
I summon the weather painter Darude.
just Konami. Just give me like. I know you've got themes. You're terrible at themes. Aurora is dark. Snow is earth. Just make up weird weather ones. Give me sandstorm. Give me firestorm. Give me hurricane.
Give me
Honestly,
Fire Twister.
that'd be good
Weather
for, like,
Painter
made new
Australia.
ones, honestly.
Weather painter. Solar flare.
Honestly, if they made like links or like I guess fusions or something that was like weird
mean, we've got-
combinations of them.
They've got
Well,
two
they
links,
have
so they could
two
do some
links.
smaller links. They could do like some link 1s and 2s.
I kind of wish their links would actually return the material set they used back to hand.
Yeah, they do some fun stuff. But yeah, so
Because generally you don't want them engraved.
I really like the background once again for Snow here, and obviously the snowy canvas looks really good. I like the you can see on her little cloud here. She's got her spent snow casings there because she's using the airbrush. Now I will
Yeah.
say, for safety, chat, do not do this at home. If you are airbrush painting, please wear a mask. It's very bad for
Yes.
you if you inhale.
But
She
as
is
you can
a
tell by her soulless eyes, she doesn't need to worry about it.
she is a magical fairy. She doesn't need to care. I do want to say I love little details like her little ice crystal pigtails and her little snowflake wings. Like, this is just fucking adorable. The only
Yes.
problem I have with this card is how blue she is and how she is an earth fairy.
Yeah.
Is
Do
very.
you enjoy her?
Good.
Do you enjoy her rubber boots?
Yeah, they got a lot of little.
I
little
think they
rubber
all
boots.
have the. I think they all have the boots, and that just makes them feel like they got old Fire Emblem feet, which is just hilarious.
Yeah, we got some nice little details here. And once again, they have a wide variety of lots of different blues. She's got kind of a cyan for her hair color. You've got indigo type colors mixed in with the blues and the whites. Very good color theory here. Okay. Snow is an earth fairy, like I said. She is level 3. She has 0 attack, 2200 defense. Big booty on this earth fairy. When this card is normal summoned, place a weather spell trap in your deck in the face-up spell trap zone. And then if this card is banished, come back. So, Snow is your starter. Now, if you'll recall, you may know that I read out that her attack is 0. This card needs to be normal summoned. I understand what they're doing. But Konami, you could make this easier.
You could make a link 1 to transfer immediately into.
Well, I don't know about
I
that
mean,
part,
You
but
can also just say if you control no monster special summon this in defense position.
yeah, but her effect to Snow is a very important starter. You'll notice that I mentioned when I talked about those deck lists earlier, everybody, that she was played at 3. This is your normal summon in the deck. The problem is that she has a very awkward stat line for a normal
distribution.
summon. The strategy that you were almost assuredly intended to do is to place something like Thundery or some other important effect-wise canvas immediately under her and then banish her right away to get another effect. And then when she comes back from a special summon, she goes in defense. It's just one of those things where it contradicts the thing that we talked about earlier, all of us. Weather Painters are a very slow build-up deck. They are a tempo deck that requires a lot of steam to get going, and you can see that even in their starter. You can't...
But once they get
Go ahead.
once they get going, though, it's basically just like, hey, do you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? How about no?
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're going to do something? I'm going to activate, like, 4 effects. All my guys are going to fucking flee to the banish zone, and then they're going to come back.
It's like your opponent came along with a fucking bucket of paint and just went, here you go, and just poured it over your cards while playing. That's what this deck does.
Yeah.
Now,
There-
Snowy Canvas is very good. This is another good one. Snowy Canvas is, it gives a monster the effect to banish itself as a quick effect. Add a weather card from your deck to your hand. But you can't add cards from your deck to your hand the rest of this turn except by drawing them. So, again, look at how slow this deck is. Very few decks actually have this issue where their big searcher literally blocks you out from adding cards except for drawing. This is presumably why some of the variants I talked about earlier are playing shit like Duality and, whatchamacallit, Extrav, shit like that.
Yeah.
Because you can still draw cards. But, yeah. You still play Snowy, it's just, it's a little awkward. Obviously, like I said, for instance, with something like Pot of Duality,
Yeah.
you can probably play that safely in Weather because you just play that to probably get a Snow or a Thunder, and then just normal them, and then you do the banish effect, and they all come back the next turn anyway.
This is one of the Snowy Canvas is one of the three that you would put at the center.
Yeah.
I think probably Thunder would probably be at the exact center, or at least one of the three.
Yeah. You always want to make sure that Thunder is very well covered, and obviously
But if you
because,
put the other, if you want your other sort of stop your opponent effects like skill drain, put those at the edges.
yeah. Yeah, so let's get ready to move on here. The Loth is busy getting his food, so we might have to hold on a sec. But let me see. But yeah, so again, we've talked at length about like there are lots of reasons why deck build archetypes don't usually take off right away. One of them is usually good. If I had to say out of Spirit Warriors, the one that was good was probably the Secret Six Sams.
Yeah.
Because Magical Musket was unfortunately heavily hampered by the fact that they did not have Max for a while. So he's very important. But let's move on. So this one's interesting. This is Rain. So Rain is supposed to be indigo. I kind of feel like because she's got kind of like an ink marker or a marker pen going on here. The actual color of the rain is a lot more blue than snow was. You could possibly argue that these are maybe in a slightly different order. Hey, this is a fun science fact. There's actually some debate in, like, the realms of, like, objectively identifying frequencies of light and shit that indigo doesn't actually exist. Indigo is just a trick your eye plays in the transition zone between blue and purple, or
I can
violet,
believe
as we
that.
say. But that cyan is actually a color. Like, there are cyan frequencies of light, we can say. So you could also say that perhaps rain here is blue and then snow is cyan. But yeah, it's very interesting to look at her color palette because, like, her hair is kind of that bluish purple. And she's got some other, like, blues and purples on her. But her ink color is, to me, reads as very blue.
Yeah. I like the water splash effect with the hair and also the rain droplets.
Yeah,
hair
this is
effect.
real good rain droplets. And you can see it a lot in... Honestly, Rainy Canvas is just really well made all around. Like, you've got the rain
Yeah.
backgrounds with, like, the drops, the streaks. You've got the god rays from where it's not raining yet. Like,
Yeah.
real good work here. And then there's a little
And
house.
then the frog in front.
Yeah, this has great... I haven't used this one in a while, but I'm going to bring one of my favorite words about art. It's got great chiaroscuro. Great light and dark play here.
Yeah.
Like, with there's a frog who's, like, backlit by the sun, and then there's the house, but with the little windows on. It's great.
At least they don't need to make weather paint a card that's a frog too. Because that
Well,
would be
sadly, they're
weird.
not aquas. Though, I'm sure you could have... If you could figure out, that would probably be some kind of really freaky deck. Frog
It's like
weather.
weather painter frog.
I mean, listen, you could make the JoJo reference.
Oh
Weather
yeah.
painter frogs. Let's do it. Weather report. But yeah, design-wise, I like a lot of what they're doing in Rain and Rainy Canvas, and it's just good work. It's a very sick-looking pen or marker. I like it a lot. Looks good. So let's talk about what they be doing. So as I spoiled earlier, Rain is the one that is the water. She is Ametenki Razura, so Lazula, like blue. Yeah, blue dabba dee dabba die. Very Scrimlow. Let them cook. Yeah. Weather is an absolutely is a let them cook deck. That's where you gotta be like, okay, they gotta cook. They gotta work. Anyway, Rain is a level 3 water fairy. She's 1214. If this card is special summoned, place a weather spell trap from your hand face up in your spell trap zone. You can only use this effect once per turn. During the standby phase, special summon it back. So yeah, Rain is another tempo tool. Obviously, her effect only procs when specialed, but it does mean that you can banish her off a canvas effect if you've got them in hand already to play them on turn 1. You can banish her off a canvas effect, like say a Snowy or something, to search, add more cards. Once you get special summon back, you can do it again. It is a hopped, so it's a little hard to really ramp up, but Rain is definitely a card you play in the rotation to start ramping. Otherwise, kind of a very, median, a very mid card. She just helps your ramp get started.
Yep, it's just helps ramp get started, but you probably only play like 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, I think I saw some at 2. Some played her at 3 just to get the extra names, but that's because they were playing like 9 total weather painters. So.
Oh yeah.
But still, it's a card that is an extender, basically. Like, she doesn't do anything on her own. She is not a good normal summon, so you need other cards active to get her going. But if you've got a Rain in rotation, you can get some extra search power there. Rainy Canvas is also another decent one. You'd probably play a couple of these, either in your side deck or maybe in your main deck. Its effect is just banish the monster, target a spell trap your opponent controls. As a quick effect, return it to the hand. So, Rainy Canvas is just a way to get rid of your opponent's spell traps. It can be very useful for certain things. Now, I will point out, obviously, technically, it is a monster effect because your effect monster gains the effect to do that. But yeah, Rainy Canvas is one of your other important ones. It helps you control the battlefield and get annoying spell traps out of the way. It is also a quick effect, so it has a lot of uses. For instance, it's not good if you've got, your opponent, activating spell cards or continuous spells on their turn. It doesn't help you with field spells or pendulum scales, for instance, but it does help you with continuous traps because those need to be reset. It also helps you if your opponent has battle traps or other things that they can't activate right now. They've got quick plays they can't work. And if nothing else, you can use Rainy Canvas to bait out certain quick play effects that are not optimal. Like, say your opponent knows that you're playing weather and they've got cyclones or MSTs or something set, and they're waiting for you to throw out your snowy canvases or your thundery canvas or something. You go Rainy Canvas, bounce your back row. That means they have to move it or lose it, so they might waste it, say, popping a Rainy Canvas that's not really going to do anything, versus a card you actually have. A decent card to have in your rotation, possibly relegated to your side deck. You can decide that for yourself, chat.
Another small girl.
Yep. We're going to leave that one behind for what we got coming up here.
Okay.
It's time for Cloud. Not that one. Though, again, this is... It's just... so weird. So this is Cloud. Cloudy Weather Slate in the OCG. He's kind of dapper. You can tell that his thing is Fountain Pen. So he's got the pen, and he's got a tiny ink bottle.
Looks like a fuckboy.
He's kind of got a generic anime pretty boy thing going on. Similar to Sun, his pen is very oversized and I feel like he's got a slightly weird grip on it. Honestly, even how he's holding it in the canvas art here, while admittedly this card is beautiful. Look at that boat. It's a weird grip he's got going on here. Some weird grip action. It looks like he's gonna throw it like a javelin, which is not at least not how I've ever heard of you holding onto a fountain pen. So Painter Cloud is supposed to be, or at least is identified by some people as violet, or the purple end of the spectrum, Roji Biv. While I certainly think that he's got some purplish shades, the fact that the OCG called him Slate, like gave him a gray name, gray really is the much more dominant color here.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have the whole slate blue, etc. It's just...
Yeah, it's a little weird. Also, so this is the wind one. They totally should... I know that it doesn't make sense for, like, the canvas art is like, oh, look, it's a bright sunny day with lots of clouds blowing around. But this guy looks like he should be the dark one, and the Aurora should be the wind one. Like,
yeah.
The fact that color-wise, this guy is, like, purplish gray with some dark blues, and that Aurora is oops all green, and this is the wind one, and she is the dark one. Very confusing to me sometimes.
It's just, well, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! They just say, oh, this is dark, even though it's not looks dark.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice now because I was looking at the live chat window on my display, not the stream overlay. Yes, Architect, your spams of emotes did not show up on the live chat feed in the stream because I'm sure that YouTube did not think that was a top chat.
Huh.
Anyway, Cloud.
Let's see.
He's
Also,
a guy.
Yeah, I do like that it has a ball of some sort plus pen, so it just inks the clouds.
Yeah, and it looks really good in this. Like all the art looks good. It's just some of the aesthetic decisions. He's got kind of a weird cloud scarf going on. These wings that look like his pen tip as well. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the wings especially sort of look like sort of cloud blades.
Yeah, they are simultaneously shaped like clouds and like his pen tip, his nib. That's what you call it. It's a pen nib. So, let's see. Painter Cloud. Don Tenki Sureto. Wind, Fairy, 3. Most of these guys are 3s, actually. They don't have any 2s. That was a joke that came up earlier. That does probably mean there's some rank 3 plays. If you really wanted to get in here, play some Zen mains. That'll help you stall. Cloud's effect is, if another face-up the weather card you control is sent to the graveyard, target up to 2 weather spell traps in your graveyard, place them face-up in your spell trap zone. You can only use this effect once per turn. During your stamina phase, bring it back. So, Cloud I also do not believe is very popular because Cloud is a recovery tool. The problem is that requires you to have Cloud on your field to activate its normal monster effect to basically reborn 2 weather spells when you send.
And you also have to have another weather painter on board too.
Yeah.
So it's not great.
Yeah, it's well, a weather painter to send or you get one of your back row popped kind of a thing. It's really weird, especially considering, like I said, Aurora's effect is that she protects your back row from being popped, which means you're much more likely to be doing this by banishing one of your weathers. It should be a really good recovery tool because it turns, a -1 into a +1. But it still requires that you have the 2 spell traps in your graveyard. You have, another one already on your field probably to banish another weather painter. It's just, once again, really too slow and finicky to be very good. You can see why Cloud is sometimes cut in some of those lists I mentioned earlier. Now, that said, Cloudy Canvas is another one of the cards that's good because it's one of the really annoying ones. Its effect is banish this card, target another face-up monster in the field, except during the damage step. As a quick effect, have its attack for the rest of this turn, but it can't attack directly.
I have a Cloud's effect reminds me of a 2-part thing. So, Omega, do you remember when I played in Prague Magical Musket?
Yes, I remember a couple of those games. You tried it a few times.
So do you remember how the card I drew, that I always drew, was the one that needed stuff in my graveyard to do things?
Yes.
Basically, Cloud is like that. Exactly.
Yeah, Cloud is that guy.
Cloud
he
is like
requires
Calamity,
setup.
where it's like, it's not the card you want to draw first ever.
Yeah. Which, honestly, that seems to be the Weather's major problem, having read over all these guys. They have, exactly 2 starters, and if you get any of the ones that are not Snow or Thunder, why are we even here?
Maybe all of them should
Just
have
the
just
paint.
been starters.
Yeah, I mean, you're already reliant on
Because
back
they're
row.
already slow.
Yeah. So future support can help with that a little, but it doesn't really because it just gives them an alternate extra deck monster and gives them a field spell. They really do need to, if Konami wants to put the weather back into the purview, they really need to print red as another main deck monster that does a starter thing, something when normal or special to actually get this going.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just something as simple as when this card is normal or special, you can send the weather spell trap you control to the graveyard, draw 2. That gets around the, like, restriction against searching that Snowy adds. Like, that would just be good to, like, get more engine in there, and then you get stuff going. But they could also probably use some, like I said, a Link 1 or Link 2 that's in Archetype that does stuff. But, yeah, Cloudy Canvas... on the one hand, Cloudy Canvas can be used to give you a win con by basically making it so your monsters can direct attack, though obviously your monsters are usually quite small. But also it can just annoy your opponent by making their big monsters very small, and you will, you banish your monsters a lot just to keep them safe, to keep their effects and keep them special summoned, because you don't want them to go to the graveyard anyway. So you're no stranger to taking... direct attack damage when you're playing the Weather anyway. Weather is one of those decks where you will take anything that is not an OTK tactically to avoid losing your cards that you need to be banished and come back to do more effects. So Cloudy Canvas is useful in a couple of ways. All right, let's talk about the big lady. Who, funnily enough, does have her own canvas, so that means there's also probably another... In addition to a red and red canvas they could print, that means there's also, because Rainbow has a canvas, you could probably print Moonbow canvas now. But this is the Weather Painter Rainbow. As you can see, her thing is the paint tubes.
Yep.
The tubes, Loth.
Honestly, I feel like the red, they could be sunsets.
Yeah.
Oh, you could probably do a sunset.
Yeah.
She has the red tube, by the way. You could see it. It's here.
Yeah.
It's just almost cut off.
They know what they're doing. I do also want to throw out, I think this lends credence to my other theory. You'll notice that you've got light blue and dark blue, basically. So I think this is actually... Oh, sorry. Loth was like literally in the middle of eating, so he couldn't come back to that. It does kind of make this seem like it's a cyan and a blue situation rather than a blue and an indigo. But card art-wise, yeah, I mean, the rainbow is the rainbow one, so I like that she's got, the truly multicolored hair. She's got, like, all the shading. She's got, the paint tubes. She's got her own palette and brush. Like,
Yeah.
She's got her own weird... I mean, I don't really know what her wings are supposed to be. It looks like a fence, but... Are they, like, panels? Canvases? They're weird. But she does at least look like she is the big boss. And as you can see from her, from Rainbowy Canvas, she is the largest one. The only other one who seems to be a tall lady is Aurora. All the rest of them are gremlin-sized.
Yeah, talk about Lee's son in that picture. It just reminds me of the little people in Wizard of Oz.
Though you can see, I would like to point everyone's attention to Cloud down here. He's taking a nap. He has the little less than three face, little colon 3 face here. Lazy little.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Rainbow looks pretty goo.
Yeah.
All right. So, not to spoil it, but you guys may have heard me mention this before. Rainbow is one of their extra deck monsters. They have 2. These guys were made during the Link era, and this is a Link monster. Rainbow is a Fairy Link 3. Her arrows all point down, so they're the down 3 arrows. And she is hard archetype locked. This requires exactly 3 the weather monsters. This is another reason why weather is hard to get out there, because you need to ramp to at least 3 monsters, but they're not really great at that.
Yeah, they need links that allow them to link climb.
Yeah. So Rainbow's effect reads, and she has, by the way, she's a Link 3 with 2400 attack. Her effect reads, when your opponent would special summon a monster's quick effect, send this Link summon card to the graveyard, negate the summon and destroy that monster. So she's a solemn warning on a stick. Actually, more of a Horn of Heaven. And once per turn, during the standby phase of the turn, this card was banished to activate the weather card's effect, because remember, they're still column-based, so she can still activate their effects normally. You can special summon her. Additionally, weather effect monsters she points to get an effect, which is when a card or effect is activated, quick effect banishes card, negate, and destroy. So she can negate summons herself by tributing herself, not by banishing herself, so she doesn't come back. It's very awkward. And she turns all of your weather monsters she points to into negates, basically.
Yeah.
So for 2017 when this came out, an okay strategy. Not really great in the long term. There's a reason why they came out with another Link 3 monster. Because honestly, the problem is that I think that Rainbow is power crept by a generic Link, arguably. If you can make it, you know what does this but better? Appaloosa. Like,
Or
if you just make a 3-mat Appo, you'll have a better time than making Rainbow. If you can make a 4-mat Appo, that's great. So, and the fact that she requires 3 weather monsters, that means you can't do funny stuff, like you can't Masquerena, you can't do any generic Link climbing. So, Rainbow's in a really awkward place where, for 2017, she is a really well-balanced Link monster. The problem is it's 2023 now. That's not really that good anymore. There are a lot of stupid, unbroken, or actually broken Link monsters out there that you can fuck around with. Although I do want to throw out, by the way, her name in the OCG is Nijitenki Arciel. So, Rainbow Weather RCL. It's spelled Arciel, but they pronounced it Arciel, so it's RCL. That's cute. They're putting the extra effort in. Her associated spell trap, Rainbowed Canvas, is another continuous trap. You can only control 1 rainbow canvas. Weather monsters gain this effect. If your opponent controls a monster, quick effect, banish this card. So the monster. Special summon a weather with a different name from your deck. Can't special summon monsters from the deck for the rest of this turn. That's also pretty decent. That lets you cycle specifically to what you need. It still does limit your options because it's, it has to be a different name than the one you sacked, and can't special summon monsters the rest of your turn. It does help you get to Aurora if you're trying to do that, but it's definitely not one of your primary ones, and it does require your opponent to control a monster. So if you were going first, this doesn't do anything. And quite frankly, if you're going second in the weather, it probably doesn't help you that much.
Yeah. If you're going second weather, you're just hoping that your opponent bricks.
So, I guess it's a weird thing to bring up. I'm back because I was away for most of your conversation. I'm sorry in that regard. But I think you probably mentioned, like, I guess Rainbow holding the palette.
Yeah.
Like
We
that.
talked about her
But
art already.
I think the canvas is nice in that, like, man, this just looks like a freaking like an animated movie trailer cover, like a
Yeah.
like a fun in a good way. Like,
They mentioned this in the solo mode. Like, it treats them all as basically like a fairy tale. Like, it's a literal fairy tale. Ha ha ha. The yolks, I've got them. But the story reflected in the solo mode is a little girl asks her mother, like, how come we got weather? And the mother is like, these adorable fairies paint all the weather. Look at it. And then after the big rainbow shows up.
After looking at the image on the right, I need to change my mind on Cloud Boy because he is literally just sleeping.
Yeah, he's sleeping. He's got a little cat face on, his little colon 3 grin.
he doesn't need to do any of his work right now, so he's just resting.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck this.
I think Rain is almost sitting on him.
Yeah, she's sitting on the same cloud. And you can see, thunder and snow are playing. Sun is just like, oh, I'm Sun.
I'm Sun, I don't need to get
I guess he's the dad.
For a second there, I thought what was it? Rain was giving him some like gravity lines of showing of like compressing him. No, that's just his wings.
Yeah, Aurora and Rainbow are probably sisters.
The lesbian moms.
That joke has
I've already
also
heard of
been made.
I honestly took it as like the big sister and then the mother, but hey,
Oh wait, no, they're roommates.
And this is their newest monster. This one came out. What set was it? Dimension Force. So this was last year. This is Weather Painter Moonbow. Now, I should point out, it's not clear, but this is the same one as Rainbow, because in the OCG she is Tsuki Tenki Ashieru again. So this is Moon Weather RCL. So this is just Rainbow at night.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just nighttime.
Yeah.
It's also she's also gone like pre-made art pastels instead of like one she like made herself, I guess.
Yeah, this is like a pre-made palette kit. She's got all her paint tubes, but now they're firing space lasers, I guess?
And also, what's with the circles? Is that from her outfit?
Yeah, I think these are dangling from her little cloud cloak. It's a little hard to tell with the way they've arranged this, though. But yeah, this is just what RCL wears when she goes out clubbing at night, I guess.
Yeah,
Actually, I figured out the colors are becoming like stars.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're going.
Mother
They're
in the
shining.
street.
They're crystallizing to be like the stars, like in the back, if you can see that.
Senpai in the sheets.
God damn it, Lon.
That's what this
Is it meant to kind of reflect like the weird like rainbow effect you can see if you like when you look at certain stars of like? Okay,
Yeah,
like,
probably
lenses?
because it is moon weather or moonbow. So when you get like rainbow effects when you're in like a moonlight or nighttime, there is also effects like moon ring. That specific like type of halo effect that appears, which is what I think they're going for as well.
Yeah.
Do most weather decks run Valkyries? I mean, you could. Valkyries are also fairies.
How many Valkyries are there?
I don't know, 7. There's a few actually. There's more than you'd think. They're not a great deck. They could probably be a very funny Master Duel solo mode as well, though, because they've actually got
There are
like
a
some
lot of
stuff
them.
going
And
on.
they kind of tie into the Aesir.
Not really, no. Because they're, I'm pretty sure they're based on they're originally based on a deck that was I think that was one of the fillers in the original.
Yeah, during the something Grand Prix.
Yeah, during the Grand Prix filler season, one of those guys played Valkyries along with some of his other stuff.
It was the pink-haired.
I think his name
Pegasus
was Siegfried. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it obviously it was that kind of a Valkyrie thing. So they're different. They do also tie into some other stuff because they got some support from like cards that were done askance, like Time Goddess's Mischief and like what do they call it, like Skuld's Prediction. They do actually mention the goddess Skuld in there, So there's some stuff, but it's a weird one. But anyway, yeah, Moonbow's just Rainbow in a different outfit. Though she is Dark attribute now, but it's a way to do this. She is another Link 3. She has the exact same stats. She has the exact same arrows. She still requires 3 of the weather monsters. But she says, if this card is Link Summoned, you can special summon one of your banished weather monsters. If this Link Summon card is destroyed, special summon a Weather Painter Rainbow from your extra deck. Weather effect monsters gain the following effect to basically become Farfas. Or, what is it, Time Gazer Magician? Basically, banish yourself, target a monster your opponent controls, banish that card until the standby phase of next turn. So, Moonbow floats into Rainbow without needing to worry about her steep cost. So, basically, I feel like you almost always make Moonbow.
You get 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, you make Moonbow, and then you float into another, like, you stack up another one, and then if something happens to Moonbow, you float into Rainbow. And she lets you do spot removal by banishing opponent's monsters as a quick effect too, so you can interrupt some plays that way. And then, like I said, there's no moon canvas yet. I'm sure they could do that.
Yeah. Don't know what it would be though.
The equivalent of what we're going for is the field spell that was added at the same time as Moonbow, because there she is right there on the art, which is just the weather forecast. The weather report, if you will. But by the way, this is also another weird thing. You may notice we've talked about, because they're important, but we've talked about literally all of the weather spell traps now that we've brought up weather report or forecast, because they don't have any normal spell traps. They just have continuous ones, so it's a little awkward.
I've noticed a weird thing.
Yeah.
That with Moonbow, they honestly could make nighttime versions of most of other painters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
possibly. I mean,
retrained.
like some of those wouldn't work. Like you can't do sun because technically moon.
And you can't do Aurora, but you could do like at least 4 of them.
Yeah, you could do some other work. I think like the only thing holding back weather from more cards is just Konami's, own like personal preference to not give them more support.
You know what would be interesting?
Go for it.
Retrains of the weathers, but as quote-unquote edgier natural disaster-like versions.
Yeah, extreme weather.
Weather painter hail.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of well, I saw on the Konami blog scene where they asked several remote duelists about their choices. So they said, what dark versus cards do you want? Someone said Dark Worlds.
What the fuck? The double Dark Worlds. Sure, go for it.
The double
Super Dark World.
But no, there are certainly like Konami has not even used up all of the colors, let alone used up all of the weather effects. Like there's so many other things they could do. For instance, the fact that like I said, Cloud is called Slate in the OCG. He seems like a gray. There's stuff you could do with like an actual purpley one. Magenta is not used at all, so you've got that open as a slot. That's a very common color in like certain ink compositions. Pink, red. Or you can treat magenta as the wraparound between violet and red. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Color theory.
We need
There's
red
no
to
black
be-
or white either. Which honestly, you could make like maybe that would be the proper like clear weather, clear skies. I know they call it clear weather, but you could work out something else in the out there, OCG land, because Rainbow is obviously splitting the colors into the different areas. But there's all kinds of weather effects you could do too. Loth just mentioned hail. I've already talked about like hurricanes and cyclones, tornadoes. Shit like earthquakes and tsunamis don't really count, but you could make them count.
Yeah.
Firestorm.
Sister archetype that somehow gels well with our
Weather painter disaster.
Yeah, make them fiends instead, but make them all still play
You
together.
you can make it work because they've already thrown out the window some things that make sense, like
the disaster painters.
making Aurora fucking dark. Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
they've already done some really weird stuff with how this archetype is aesthetically. But let's say what Forecast does, so we can wrap this one up. Forecast is a field spell. It's another great Konami made a field spell band-aid. It's got a very big block of text. It's a very wonderful art, but it's basically like I joke that they could make a moon weather canvas. This one already is kind of that art-wise anyway. But when this card is activated, good.
We made Malefic Territory for weathers.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of band-aid field spells. So, Weather Forecast. When this card is activated, place a weather spell trap from your deck face up in your spell trap zone. You can then use each of the following effective Weather Forecast once per turn. If you link summon the Weather Link monster, you can also use face up the Weather cards in your spell trap zone as Weather monsters for its summon. So this lets you link summon by using continuous spell traps. I also want to point out, this one is very interestingly phrased. Obviously, they don't work like that, but the way this is phrased, it just says weather cards in your spell trap zone. If there were weathers that, worked like Crystal Beasts, if there were weathers that were like Unions, if there were Pendulum weathers, all of those would work.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very well future-proofed card, but you can use them as link material. So this is how you get around that problem I talked about, how both Moonbow and Rainbow require exactly 3 weather monsters. well, now you can just fill your entire back row with continuous ones and then sack them off for, Moonbow probably.
We
And
need
then-
to bring back Union monsters.
Then, also, its last effect. During your main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon a weather monster from your hand. You can only activate one weather forecast per turn. So, weather forecast gives you an archetypal double summon. It lets you use spell traps for links. And when you activate it, you place a spell trap from your deck face up in your spell field. It's a really good card. It's still incredibly vulnerable to MST. This entire deck, if your opponent is playing any kind of spell trap removal, you just fucking die. And unfortunately, right now in the meta, yes, they are playing spell trap removal because if your opponent is playing tier, their field spell fucking sucks. It does everything.
Or Runic. I hate
Yes, Runic also has a field spell that does everything, and until like
Also,
last.
I'll be-
Oh, hey Dallas, hey, you finally
Hi.
made it. Hey, hey.
I'm
At
pumped.
the end.
I'll be very real. Just to add on to that, if you're not playing some kind of spell trap removal, at least in your side deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, you do deserve to lose. You
Yes.
just do.
I mean, like, nobody likes to play under Mystic Mine. That argument about how you should have an out to Mystic Mine still counts. And that's why
Yeah,
Mystic Mine
yeah,
actually didn't
yeah.
win that many tournaments.
Like, here's the thing. The reason for that being a reason for not banning Mystic Mine is stupid. However, that argument is still true.
Yes.
So both stupid, but also true.
But so that unfortunately puts the weather and weather forecast in a bad spot because now they have this amazing field spell that does fucking everything. This is a one card starter. It lets you get an extra normal. It lets you place a spell. It lets you fucking link summon with spell traps. But if your opponent's playing Cosmic Cyclone, you still fucking die and cry.
How premium is the deck space the extra deck space in Weathers? Because they could just run Malefic Stardust Dragon for shits and giggles.
No,
Honestly, you
no.
probably could. I mentioned earlier, Loth.
Yeah,
Weather was
they-
playing Extrav.
Yeah, they don't really do that much extra deck stuff because they
Well,
like stuff on the field.
You need your extra deck space for your unofficial boss monster.
What?
The Phantasm Beast. Because you can run all of the Sacred Beasts in Weather because of how those interact.
Oh,
Oh,
right, because they
yeah.
require.
Hamon is
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Weather Hamon
Oh.
is a weird hybrid we can do. I think was that in the solo mode? I don't remember.
Yeah, that was solo mode along with I think the opponent had weather. Yeah, weather Uriah, but they also had weather.
I have been clowned on by
what-
Weather Sacred Beast decks.
That
Dragon Slayer ones where they did the Metatron.
yeah, they had
Oh,
True Draco.
yeah.
That one sucked because that's just
That-
so. Ugh.
That one was painful because I just like turn 3 they have that guy. I was just
It
like,
took me
hey,
it
I
took
can
me
summon
months to
anything.
beat that one solo mode with the loner deck.
I
It
think
was
it
so
took me
bad.
like 10, 15 times.
Yeah, it was so rough. But yeah, so Weather obviously is light enough on the main deck and extra deck space. You can hybridize this with anything. Though bringing up the Sacred Beast makes that concept we had earlier before Dallas showed up very funny about like the disaster painters and make them fiends. 'Cause that would-
Eldritch is also a very common run.
Yeah,
in the
because you can
deck.
send spell traps. Though that also, like I said, that doesn't use up your extra deck space at all. So
Yeah.
again, that on the one hand, that means Konami, if you'd like to support the Weather, consider link 1s and 2s. Give them something to do besides go into Moonbow then Rainbow.
I mean, they usually do Zeus at this point.
Yeah, because they're almost all of them are level 3s. I think only Aurora isn't. So you can do rank 3 plays and then do Zeus. It's just
It's usually rank 3 into that one Downer Magician into Zeus.
Yeah. That gives you a lot of materials. Basically, overall, Weather is a deck that, on the one hand, it's really easy to hybridize. Anything that either can take advantage of your back row or doesn't use its back row at all can fit in perfectly fine. I'm sure there's plenty of weird generic fairy support
What
you can
the
probably cram in.
fuck?
But,
What?
Did Master Duel release a new card?
which one?
Or was there another ban list that I've never heard about?
What in what context, Dallas?
The tier metal decks. I'm very confused by the number 1 deck right now.
They released Maverick stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
then.
they added
Maflek
Circular.
is the number 1 deck.
Yeah, they added Circular.
I went, wait a minute, hold on.
Yep,
Yeah.
circular.
So, yep, Mathmech. Fun deck. MBT
guess
did a
it
whole
is
like
strong
30-minute
when
video
tears
talking
is a
about
thing.
this combo. Yeah, no.
Really well done.
The Mathmech is like now a primo meta deck because we have no fucking idea when Tyr and Sprite is gonna come out.
Because Tyr and Sprite are just posing in shadow in the background.
They're
by
JoJo
the-
posing in the shadow.
Go ahead, Loth.
By the way, because you told me to go watch it. Before I watched that video, like a day or two before that, I got clowned on by someone running that exact same deck.
Wow. Neato.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Weather is a deck that you can hybridize with lots of things, and you're basically forced to because even in your own archetype, despite the fact that they have a main deck big lady monster, I should say, and they have 2 Link 3 extra deck monsters. Neither of them really close out the game. Like Moonbow and Rainbow are just like negates and removals. Aurora herself is just protection. They don't really have a good win the game card.
I don't know if you talked about this, but I think the unfortunate thing about Weather is that most of their most successful win conditions are stall.
Yes, I did bring that up because I actually went to Yu-Gi-Oh! Top Decks and looked at a couple of their ones. There was a Weather top deck at a regional, not a like top cut. It was like 19th place from last year, but it was Weather Mystic Mine.
Yeah.
So, and even then, some of their older ones.
They can play under skill drain.
Yes,
Of how weird weather effects are.
The 2019 got a couple of like 6th places, top 8s. Those were all playing like 3 copies of Lose One Turn. They were playing a copy of Macro, a copy of Skill Drain, shit like that.
We need weather painters, wave motion cannon.
I mean, yeah, no. The problem with this deck is it's very mimetic, but the problem is you ask yourself, where's the win con? Like, how do you actually... I know a lot of people talk about how, like, life points are meaningless, and they can be outside of the time rules and stuff. MBT also had he's starting another new series, Magical Hats, where he's doing, like, one of them's the imposter, but it's a very interesting...
But you do actually need to kill your opponent.
Like,
Yeah.
whether you're playing at locals or you're playing at a tournament setting, at some point you have to make your opponent's life points lower than yours, at least, if not 0.
It's the Magic the Gathering problem of...
Yeah.
Okay, yes, this is
You have to put things sideways, dude.
Mill through draw is not a win con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You could probably come up with some weird, like, runic weather nonsense, but and mill your opponent out that way. But that would not be optimal. No, you can just play pure runic.
Yeah.
You can just play runic stun and not play weather runic stun.
And, yeah.
So weather, like I said, they really lack a win con, and they lack a lot of starters.
I refuse to give up my addiction to making runic meme decks. I refuse.
I mean, you can make runic meme decks. It's just don't play runic stun. That's the unfortunate autopilot small brand deck, or at least it was until the Mathmech thing come out. That might actually be like the now. Oh shit, Mathmech is just the best deck.
I think runic Zodiac is the current build.
But yeah,
I'm just a person who wants to play quote unquote pure Mathmech, not some of the
Everyone
ways
still pretty good.
Cyber's monster they do.
I mean, you still
Yeah,
probably want to put a
that's-
couple of generic Cyber monsters in there for extension because there's not that many Mathmechs.
Yeah, they're not that many. I think
Just
you
shooting
can put
myself in the
in
foot, really.
like.
Well,
Snake
it's
in
funny. I know for a fact because MBT talked about in his strategy video about how to him the end point of the deck is make access code talker for an easy OTK. And I'm like, yeah, Loth will never do that. But he also, MBT does at least acknowledge that Distant Coder is doing a variant of Mathmech. He actually plays one copy of Final Sigma as one of your win cons. And MBT is like, that's not that good because you still need to win. But he is very funny.
It's really ironic that Final Sigma is better in a lot of other decks than Mathmech.
Yeah, unfortunately. But that said,
you know why they
you can
work
still make him really easily in Mathmech with Super Factorial. And honestly, if you're in most of Ladder, a lot of people are going to be able to work, fight a properly summoned Final Sigma anyway.
Yeah.
He's a motherfucker.
Final Sigma works really well in, for instance, fucking sorry, I'm losing track. The Malefic deck.
Yeah, I run Final
Yes, you can
Sigma in a
make 'em.
couple decks,
Yeah.
actually.
Final
It's funny.
Sigma is a funny boy. But yeah, so that's basically where we're at with the weather. It's another one of those really interesting decks, has a very unique feel, and it feels like Konami made them just a little too fair. And for
I made
some
a
reason,
very funny weather deck.
what was your
What?
brew?
Weather Helios Trismegistus.
I mean, that does work. Like I said, there was that variant that played 1 macro. Now you can play 3 macro. So
Konami
Dear
should
Master Duel,
release
please
more.
implement 3 macro. 3,
does Master Duel not allow you to play 3 macro? I thought it did, because
Nope.
that was the OCG
Still one.
ruling. Interesting. I mean, I guess in the best of 1, all kinds of floodgates are a little more annoying, but they still let you play like 3 fucking skill drain, I think.
Macro is like the least annoying floodgate, in my opinion.
Depends on the deck.
Of the trap floodgates that I'm thinking of, I think it's the least annoying.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because
mean, it's-
you yourself are subjected to it.
Well, there's that. I mean, you're subjected to most of the big floodgates. That's another thing, by the way. Weather can they can't run Gozen very well because they're all different attributes, but
Yeah.
they can run Rivalry because they are all fairies.
Yeah, just hopefully you
Isn't one of them
can-
a thunder?
No, they're
Yeah.
all fairies. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I'll double check, but I believe they
Yeah.
are all fairies.
I thought thunder was
so.
a thunder.
Nope, Thunder is a fairy.
Okay.
The main thing is
Alright.
just their attributes are all over the place. Hey, Dallas, did you recall that Weather Painter Snow was an Earth-type monster?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I know they have the elemental hero effect. They have one of every attribute.
Yeah, they got there, and they've got a couple technically more because Rainbow is light and now Moonbow is dark. But anyway, give me red, palette knife red. Do it, you cowards.
Look, I'm just waiting for them to fucking release my boss monster from the archetype I want to build.
And red should be the WinCon card.
It could be. Honestly, I feel like they could do that more with their extra deck. They already have 2 decent Link 3s. If you could just, I don't know, make a spell card effect or something to, like, make your monster big or make them attack multiple times. Like, if you did, like, a fiery canvas or something, right, and did that to, like, banish a weather painter, target the weather monster, it can attack, 1 time for every the weather card in your spell trap zones. There you
And
go.
can
That's
attack it directly.
well, you've already got the one that can make it so
I
you can
just need
attack
one
directly.
extra time.
No, it should. Remember, Axe, the biggest monster in this deck is only 2,400 attack. You need to give them like 5 attacks to make it matter.
No, it's one extra attack, which means that if you have none, they can still attack.
Well, you wouldn't
No,
do it from a
what-
dumb.
What
I said
what,
additional
they
attacks per battle phase
Oh,
for
okay.
What they
for each
actually need
ST.
is a boss monster that gets bonuses from having stuff banished.
That's probably another good one. Hey, you could play. That means you could probably play fucking Grand Maju.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like a Grand Maju that does something
True.
Yeah.
other than be big.
Yeah.
Our cards have
Honestly,
that's
like
just
if
with the-
if it's a boss monster, if it was like a Link 4 or a main deck monster that had a special summoning condition, it should probably be something like return monsters that are banished to your deck. So technically, you're losing the advantage of special summoning them next turn. But if that's to like basically do like a reverse access code talker, for instance, shuffle a banished the weather monster back to your deck to like pop 1, and it's not a once per turn, like.
yeah.
The idea is, well, if you can swing for game, you can swing for game. It's over. If you can't, you just fucked yourself out of a shitload of advantage. Something like that. Like,
So like shuffle the card back to deck and banish a card on your opponent's side field.
yeah,
face
something like
down.
that. Yeah, like just something that means you can actually win a game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh shit! I gotta finish this dual pass.
The dual pass is
guess
pretty
a
close to
bit-
being done.
I guess an odd bit is like eventually like could just give them a win con card, as in like a card that at least gives them a win condition.
I mean, yeah, you could give them an
No
alt win
win
con, but that would probably involve clogging up their spell trap zone or something.
Oh no! Oh no!
What's up?
What?
Well, I'm gonna make people in bronze cry.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Dallas is in bronze and he has to finish the
Don't
dual
worry.
pass.
What?
I'm already slightly upset. I've decided to have one friendly game of Master Duel immediately Lotus Tri-Brigade. I fucking hate this deck.
Weird. That deck's not even that
Tri
good.
Brigade, fucking. I love Shurag. Shurag's so great.
I mean, Shurag is not a problem. It's the fact that you can use Revolt to summon Shurag on your opponent's turn. That's the card that's fucking annoying.
Or the no, I still think Shurag's annoying because it's not a once per turn.
Are you really? I mean, are you gonna summon
Or
a?
it's not a once per duel. You can continuously trigger the effect.
But he's only 4. How many times are you gonna summon him?
No, it's when another beast is summoned as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I am okay with Tri Brigade. That deck hasn't been relevant for like 2 years. I have not read Shurag in a long time, and if I see him used, I don't ever see that part actually used. It's almost always Revolt, Banish 4, Summon Shurag, pop, cool, great. I needed that card you popped.
Oh, yeah.
I think the
It
reason I'm
seems-
annoyed with Shurag is because so many decks just throw Shurag into it.
Yeah, because it just says any beast, warrior, winged beast is a special summon to your field.
Well, also, yeah, no. The thing with Tri Brigade is we can have this conversation when we start going through the Abyss storyline archetypes, because it seems like that storyline is roughly wrapping up.
I think so, because I think the last they showed the ending, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure. if
we
it's
had like
the
the
ending.
final battles and stuff. Obviously, there's still some cliffhanger type stuff there because Albaz and Ecclesia, Jetson's flying car off into the sunset. But I'm pretty sure
How'd they get
Aluber
there?
is still alive and being sinister somewhere. So
They-
I don't know
they
if there's
didn't
going to be a
show how they
season
got-
2.
They didn't show how they even fought Aluber. Is the thing.
Well, it's true. Yes, we only know that Albaz and Ecclesia did fuse into Big Dragon, and they punched the other Big Dragon out, probably, after Ecclesia blew some guys up with her robot dragon.
Kit.
But yeah, Kit did. Kit solos.
But
to
yeah,
quote a yada.
sorry for.
I mean, it's okay. We're done. I'm just trying to faff this out so it lasts a bit longer. We've made it to an hour and 40 minutes.
Is there another short archetype we can do?
Uh,
We'll be doing this for like an hour and a half.
We could do DDD.
I do not want to stay here any longer.
no.
Hey,
How much do you
can't
even
we
do?
just
I mean, is it
throw
what
I
it
mean,
haven't
it's already 11. We can
Yeah.
call it a day. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
scroll through YG
Totally.
organization to see if there's anything funny. They did announce a new V Jump promo card that's gonna be the Big Magician of Faith.
the greater,
Grand Magician of Faith, yeah.
the greater.
I mean, we
something.
literally don't know. I appreciate that that even YG organization is like, we don't fucking know, because it's like,
Will they do Mask of Greater Darkness?
because her name is like
Maybe.
they say it's pronounced like Sacred Magician.
Oh God.
But there's a lot of ways they could take that. Like, their suggestions are like Greater Magician of Faith, Magician of Greater Faith, Magician of Faithfulness. There's a lot of stuff. Anyway,
Magician
she's
of very much faith.
coming on the V Jump promo to the first of several V Jump promos this year to celebrate the fact that it's the 25th anniversary. She is a light
you just
level 5.
Play Shard of Greed against me. I feel really bad about this now.
Well, you're in bronze, buddy. What can you
I
expect?
need a DD combo for like 5 minutes, and then this guy went Shard of. Oh no, he's running Ash. I don't feel bad anymore.
Okay, he's trying. But yeah, I don't think there's anything really crazy they've announced. There's a lot of reference art coming out lately.
Yeah. Only big thing we've seen come out are Rush Duel archetypes.
Yeah, as always,
Seems
Rush is
cool.
doing lots of stuff.
Oh, you
Like,
don't
I think
know how
there's a
this card
Celestial
works.
Warrior archetype.
Oh, I feel so bad about this. You don't know how Big Suck works. Suck.
The whenever they actually start that theme chronicle thing, that's probably going to be pretty wild, because they've basically everything that is an archetype card, or at least is a major archetype card like an extra deck or boss monster, that is not in a solo mode is fucking banned. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna play Monarch.
I'm
Probably-
playing B-Trooper.
Oh wow, you gonna go there?
Actually,
Okay. I mean, I think
I have a B-Trooper deck.
it's true. There is a Beat Trooper loner deck.
let's see. I might.
I'm gonna pray that they don't. I'm gonna pray that they consider Ballpark a archetype.
I mean, I
What
think
if
technically
we-
all
I
those
could play
cards are
Orcus.
non-archetype. You can see the ban list right now. I think actually.
It's
Okay.
Orcus.
Like, you can check it in game.
How much of Orcus is?
Oh, I mean, it's not going to be banned. It is in a solo mode.
Yeah, it's one of the archetypes.
No, I'm thinking about like I guess was any
Well,
Orcus
the
Master
problem
ban
is
this year?
the actual ban list makes Orcus suck.
Yeah, you can play 3 Harp Horror, but it's like, is it no Galatea or 1 Galatea?
It's like one.
I think it's 1 Galatea.
But Orcust is a loner deck. Like, that's what it is. I brought this up with Loth the other week when we were talking about something. The 3 loner decks are Bee Trooper, Orcust, Plunder Danger.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not
Think-
gonna be
think
able to
about that
Battle
last
Lost
one.
Bee Trooper. I might not do it then.
What do you mean? What's up?
Isn't Battle Lost? Wouldn't it be banned?
Battle Lost would be banned. But Dallas, I'm looking in the loner deck. Ballpark and Gokibor are in here, and Gokipole. So,
Okay, so I can run a ballpark variant.
yes, you can run the Ballpark
I'll
variant.
have to do some brewing, but I'm sad I can't run Battle Lost package.
It's true. Battle Wasp is a great package, but they don't have a solo mode. Unfortunately, Dark World is not a solo mode, so I can't play Danger Dark World.
I sadly can't teach the. I mean, I guess we can teach. We sadly can't teach the insects to synchro summon today.
No,
Um,
you can still run insect synchros.
Just
It's
not the archetype ones.
Not Battle.
I mean, I'm probably gonna do the basic pitch thing, and I'm gonna play no extra deck Monarch, no fun Monarch.
Let's see. Mutants
Okay, so
are
run
bad.
main deck MSG. Got it.
Spiral's not existent.
Nope.
I feel if it's
I mean, I can
feel
literally
Spiral-
pull up the
Spiral really should get a solo mode though.
I mean, that would be interesting.
It really should actually.
But I mean, hey, if you want us to recap, because that's kind of the thing we talk about, the solo modes are. You've got Monarch, obviously, that was the first one. You've got Elemental Lords and Element Sabers, that's probably not very good. You can run Ruin and Demise. You can run Megaliths.
That if you run Ruin and Megalith is probably going to be a really good one, especially for low spenders.
You can run Gem Knights. You can run Glad Beasts.
Gem Knights are
That's not bad.
okay.
You can run
Honestly,
Katakuri.
I think Glad Beast is awful because of the archetype restriction. Because you can't
Fair.
run any of the tri pieces.
You can
Or
run
you want-
Shiranui. Actually, I could probably
Actually,
try
wait.
that as well.
Right, you can't run Tri Brigade yet. Right.
I don't know how I couldn't run Shiranui with the archetype. Wait, no. Are they
Generics are
considering
still allowed.
zombie and archetype?
I don't think so.
'Cause if I can run Unizombie, I might do Shiranui then.
Let me. I just clicked off.
Actually, that's
let
not
me
the good
control
time,
F.
honestly.
If I can't run Unizombie, there's no point.
Yeah, Unizombie is not on this list, so no, he's allowed.
Ooh, I might do that.
Balderok is also okay. So yeah, you could just play Zombie World Shiranui, which I might do as well. Geargia, though, unfortunately, that is probably not going to be good because you can't
Is
play like
Ancient
gadgets and
Gear
shit.
exist, or like any?
I'm so
Machina
sad.
doesn't
My
exist.
favorite.
Honestly, it has to be Machina Geargia to work because you need some, or I guess Infinitrack, but those eventually could get solo modes.
I'm so sad. My favorite. archetype
Citadel,
will
Fortress, and
never
Ruin Force are all
probably get a
banned, so.
solo mode.
It's not
Sad my favorite
it's not a
archetype won't.
complete archetype ban, I should point out. It's just usually the big monsters. Like, for instance, out of Dogmatica, only Ecclesia, Fleur-de-Lis, and Maximus are banned, but those are like the ones you would play.
Okay.
Only
Okay,
out of
since I'm in
Dino
the middle
Wrestler.
of a
Go for it. What's up?
Since I'm in the middle of a DDD combo, would you mind telling me what's banned out of Battle Wasp? Because I might not care.
Oh, Battle Wasp actually doesn't show up on this list. I guess they didn't hit it, even though it's an
I
archetype.
could do Battle Wasp.
Yeah, I think you could just play Battle Wasp Beetrooper if this article is correct.
I know what I'm playing.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a lot of good shit that is hit, like, I should say the Dogmatica ritual ones are. All of fucking Necros is banned, thank God. Drytron is banned. Chaos Max is banned. Get wrecked, nerds. A lot of hero monsters are banned, which is sad.
No, but I can't farm easy Blue Eyes players then.
Oh, thank God for me. All the good Predaplants are banned. Whew. Unfortunately,
Including Verde?
I mean, let me
yeah.
find the link to look the link package probably though. Let me see. Access code is banned. Loth will be happy. Borland, Boral Sword are all banned. Unfortunately, my Evil Twin deck is banned. Firewall's banned.
Yeah,
Infinity Tree's
I'm
Fortune.
sad my favorite deck will not get a
Yeah,
solo
Verte
mode
is on this
because,
list as well. Loth.
Thank
I don't think...
Also, hey, Loth, you'll be happy to know. Exactly Shurag is banned. It's Tri-Brigade
I'm gonna be
Rugal and
real.
Tri-Brigade Shurag.
Fuck you!
I'm gonna be real. My favorite solo mode my favorite deck will not get a solo mode because it already technically got a solo mode explaining it. It's called Watch Vrains.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think
yeah,
they'll do anything with anime archetypes.
I don't think there's many
So
archetypes
basi-
that they
so
would bring
basically
from the
that-
anime into the solo mode.
So Dallas, instead
well,
of
the
you
Attic
getting
Mystery is
so,
literally just the storyline of Vrains.
Yeah.
so Dallas, you're not gonna get a solo. You're gonna get one of those SP gates.
Possibly.
Hopefully.
Because-
Continuing on the list, just to finish it out, you've got Digital Bug, you've got Dino Mist, you can play Klee. That was one.
Oh, fun.
They did also do the Legend of the Star Heroes, which includes like all the World Legacy shit up to Orcust, I think, is in. This unfortunately means I believe Nightmares are illegal. Lightsworn, all those will be good. Weather, obviously. Woe betide anybody who's playing Weather. Unfortunately, Heralds do have a solo mode, so somebody might try and make some nonsense work. 6 Sams are on this list as well.
Yo, Herald Megalith?
Yeah, hey, that's valid. Danger. Oh gosh, actually, Nephthys does have a solo mode. Do I want to try and make Nephthys work? I might.
Omega?
I mean, it's just solo mode points. I don't think anybody playing Master Duel has read a Nephthys, even if they played the solo mode. So, eh.
The only reason I've read a Nephthys is because I sometimes run it in fucking Fire King.
I mean, I can check. Are any Fire King cards banned?
Looked at the thing for
Hey, no Fire Kings are banned. Fuck yeah.
Saw the. I think it was. Wait, let me check to see if that was right.
I can play Fire King
I
Island.
think they might only be hitting relevant archetypes.
Yes, no, I think you are correct, Dallas. They are only hitting ones that matter. So,
this
and
has
then
to be
after
banned.
Sacred Phoenix was Bee Troopers, then Plunder Patrol. You've got
Machina's banned.
yeah, Machinas are hit.
How many Ancient Warriors are banned?
Yeah, you better check out. Let's see. Abyssal Waters is which one? Mermail. Okay, so Mermail's legal. Then there's Vendred, obviously somebody brought that up. Dream Mirror, don't play Dream Mirror. Ghost Tricks is valid. Starry Dragon, don't play that one. And I guess Mutant, because that was our last solo mode.
Plunder's gonna
Yeah,
be
I
a
mentioned
big one.
Plunder earlier. Plunder's a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a lot of different brews I can try, actually. I'll probably try Nephthys, because that's absolutely a pet deck of mine. I'm going to have a lot of fun talking about that when we get to that one in Fail Portrayal.
I don't know if I can afford Shiranui. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
'Cause
Sorry,
the Zombie
sorry,
World
Spirit on
stuff
Lapis.
is
We were
expensive.
talking about because we were just faffing around. Master Duel is about to have a new event called the Theme Chronicle. So the intent is to emphasize archetypes that are shown off in solo mode. Hey, that's that thing we do in Fail Portrayal. But that means that there's a lot of flexibility out there because they've banned a lot of relevant archetype cards, but not some archetype packages and not a lot of generic cards. So there's a lot of weird shit you can do.
And not a lot of bad archetypes.
Yes. B Troopers are all still legal, like we said. You can play.
Well, B Troopers are story mode, and they're relevant. It's
Not
the
B Troopers, sorry,
Wasps
Battle
that
Wasps,
aren't.
Well, we'll have to hope that Dallas, you'll be able to join us for when we get to the B Trooper episode, because that's coming up. That's a solo mode.
I might be able to, or at least I'll join for the tail end, because I also unironically love the art of B Troopers. So.
It's pretty interesting, and they do have a new one lately. So let's see. Our next one after. Where was we? Oh, hey, it's that we just mentioned it. It'll be Heralds, actually. So, everybody, get ready to be ballin' next week. Because they're all orbs. We're going to talk about a lot of orbs.
Well, they're not all orbs, Omega.
No, it's true. Some of them have orb-shaped arms and legs to go with their
No,
orbs.
some of them are just anime girls.
Yes, one of them is an anime girl, yeah. But, yeah, we be orbin'. And that'll be fun. We can talk about how much ultimateness was a mistake. Ultimateness was
Yeah.
a bad idea because anytime rituals are good, he comes back and he fucking sucks.
I feel so bad bullying this Dark World player.
That's a shame, you know. You hate to hurt a brother, but you got a dual pass to clear. All right, the music rotation loop just ended, so that's probably a good sign that we should go home. We've almost hit 2
Running
hours.
Dark Smog.
Oof. Ugh. Listen,
Yeah.
brother, if you're gonna play Dark World, at least play it good.
Bro,
That'll
I'm
be
gonna get Fraternity Night. I'm so sorry.
By the way, that'll be my next deck brew will be whenever they add the Dark World structure deck cards to Master Duel. That's gonna be me. I'm gonna be playing Danger Dark World.
I'm gonna be the hipster in that relationship then because
Are you just
that
gonna
is
play
one of my
Danger?
favorite decks.
Or are you gonna play Dark World?
No, I own a Danger Dark World deck.
Oh, well, hey, you'll be good.
It's one
You
of
already
the
have
first
it.
decks I built in Master Duel.
Yeah, I haven't built mine yet because, like I said, I own the Dark World Redux structure deck in real life, so that will be coming.
The danger part of it is definitely the more expensive in Master Duel. I'll say that.
Probably, though there are I think there's a couple of them that you got for free from doing the solo mode. I think so.
The thing with the Dark World cards is you don't really need the ultras.
True. At least until
'Cause,
they add the new ones, which I'm sure will be
Well, yeah, if they're ultra,
high
that's,
rarity.
that's different.
New Grapha will have to be, right?
I don't know. Sometimes they make weird things low rarity. Like I think
It's
it's
true.
Valiant, where my boss monster is like a rare, but my field spell is the ultra.
Yeah, that's just to tell you to go fuck yourself because you need that too.
Well, no, the thing that's helping me go fuck myself is the deck is still not out yet.
Well, that's also true. Woe betide anybody who wants to play Punk, because Deer
God.
Note is still not out.
I'm the one that's raising my hand and just kind of like sadly lowering it.
Well, also, Deer Note might actually get banned in the TCG and OCG.
Oh, really? Are people using it in decks still?
Punk as a package has been a problem for a long time in the air.
Yeah, I know it's been played a lot. If it's
think-
coming back,
I think they hit part of the line
Yeah, I
they
think that's
did
part
for
of the
Punk
Punk deck is
package, which
already
was
banned.
hitting that banish, that something dragon one.
but by the way, if you're curious, chat, I will end the stream on this note. We don't have these big pie slices for the TCG, but here's the OCG metagame right now. As you can see, straight up banning Kit Kalos and putting most tier limit names to 1 hasn't really worked. All of the Ishizu cards are still legal, so tier limits are still good. Tri Brigade is
It cut
coming
it down
back.
by like a solid 30% though.
Well, I mean, yeah,
I
they
don't
made it
like
no
it.
longer tier 0. I suspect that the TCG is going to
It's
do this the
still a
other way
tier 1
around.
deck. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
they
think-
need to.
I mean,
They
yeah.
just need to kill the Ishizu cards.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's probably what the TCG is going to do when we roll around to a banless season in like February or March. They're probably going to limit or pinch most of the
No one likes
Ishizu cards.
Ishizu anyway.
They will
Yeah.
still probably hit some tier cards. Like I can
Well, yeah,
imagine they might limit Kit Kalos. They will probably limit or ban the field spell because that's really
Yeah.
good.
Oh, they should do both. They should absolutely gut it.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
Dallas, do you know about this tech? You don't need to play Kit Kalos.
No,
Because
I mean, ban the field spell, ban Kit Kalos, ban all the Ishizu cards.
yeah, but yeah, Kit Kalos is not a necessary part of this deck because you could just play King of the Swamp.
yeah, there's that. Okay.
That is the
Sorry.
the literal combo line that is in the OCG tier limits you see on screen right now. The OCG is doing a weird play where they summon Dracosac, they make 2 tokens, they turn the tokens into Cherubini. Cherubini bins King of the Swamp, so you have a material for Ruclos is the big fusion, I think.
Kaleidoheart?
It might be Kaleidoheart, but I think it was Rukalos.
I don't.
I think they should just
like
ban
the-
Chirac.
Just ban.
Well,
ban
just
Aqua
because you don't
Monster.
win the game, just because you only win 40% of your game
problems
doesn't
in
mean
the
it's a good
last
opinion.
couple
Look at this
formats have
fucking
been because
picture
of
here and
Aqua
see.
Monster.
But that's just because he's the Tri
Ban
Brigade
them.
guy. Shureg is not why Tri
Yeah.
Brigade is good all of a sudden. It's because they've gotten like
Yeah.
2 more support cards.
Yeah.
I just hate him.
Oh
And
yeah.
yes,
those-
it is because I'm salty.
As I think as I've listened to someone, they point out how tier is still top because they point out how certain other decks that are around that level were hit too. So tier stay on top.
Yeah, no,
Well, before
I-
Ishizu
I-
came out, Sprite also got limited a
Look,
little.
As much as I hate Wizards right now, and I think most of the internet agrees with this, I much prefer their approach to banning, which is, oh, this deck is a problem. I'm going to light it on fire. Now the deck is no longer a problem.
Well, I assume in general, by the way Magic works, because they have set rotation, If they're banning cards, it's because either you're in an evergreen format where that won't ever go away, or it's because it's causing a lot of a problem right now and you can't wait for sets to rotate.
Yeah, I think
Whereas-
the last non-emergency ban for a standard format was a while ago, but I'm mostly talking for evergreen stuff.
Yeah.
Was when they go, "Oh, this deck is a problem," and like 5 cards of it are all problems. Okay, they're all banned.
But once you go below that, I do want to say this is a really interesting sub-slice.
Yeah, no, if it wasn't for Tier and Tri Brigade, this would be a great meta.
Like, you've got Lab in there, actually, which I appreciate, though that's with some of their newer support cards. You do see a small slice of Pure Runic. Dragon Link is back. People are still playing
Sprite,
Exorcister.
Sprite,
Yeah.
Evil Twins.
Sprite Evil Twin is a deck. It's a legitimate deck in the OCG. And because Gishki actually got a couple of new support cards, yes, Sprite Gishki also exists. There's also Tri Brigade Lyrilisk Bird Up is back, and Punk Bastille. That is another deck that, while it's not very well represented, it also sucks because Bastiles are problematic. Are you playing a light or dark deck? Fuck you.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, as much as I like interesting variants of the deck, some Runic builds are just toxic.
Runic Stun is a big pain in the ass, yeah.
That's till they release archetype that just flips Spanish cards face up or face down for their effects.
I should also point out that while it is not explicitly, because there were a couple of their names hit as well, Kashtira cards are also kind of an issue in this oeuvre. One of those tier... So, again, this lets you know that the Ishizu card is the problem. Those out of those tier limit decks you see on screen, that is 31 tier limit decks. 25 of them are Ishizu tier limit. 6 of them are Ishizu Kashtira tier limit. It's the Ishizu cards that were the problem.
Yes.
Even Labyrinth, 5 of them are Labyrinth, 2 of them are Ishizu Labyrinth. Tri Brigade is like Sprite Tri Brigade and Scareclaw Tri Brigade, so they're all hybrid decks. For Runic, you've got 3 Dragon Link, one of which is Grass Bastille Dragon Link. The other is Bastille Dragon Link. 3 Exorcister, 3 Punk Bastille, 3 Sprite Gishki, 3 Sprite Evil Twin, 3 Tri Brigade Lyrilisk, 2 Adamancipator decks. Adamancipator also still showing up in the OCG. One is Vernoself Adamancipator, the other is... I shudder to say this name. Grass Ishizu Vernoself Adamancipator.
Okay, that's the one Ishizu deck I'm not mad at, because that's just funny.
That's just mill the deck.
Yes, but
That's
unfortunately,
just-
that is
I
that's the
decided
price
to
you
play
pay.
slots today instead of you.
That's
20 cards.
this is the other thing I've talked about before. The problem with the Ishizu cards is it's always sad when they make these broad generic cards that come back that support a lot of decks. It's like basically Dragoon and DPE ultimately. Maybe a little bit more like Dragoon and Verte than how DPE turned out. I feel like DPE was really good specifically because of the Scythelock situation, but the Ishizu cards are a big crutch for a lot of dumb, stupid, dumb decks. The problem is that tier limits exist, and they are a super mill-focused strategy. So you printed generic mill support cards with the mill deck. You have a problem.
Yeah.
So I need to
Hopefully-
bring this up.
Go ahead.
I was waiting during break. I ended up watching some VT clips of. I think he brought this up of being that like a lot of cards nowadays can't be pack filler. They all have to be good or just really fucking weird nowadays.
Yes, he did talk about this in his video about most recent cards because there is no set rotation. He talked about, for instance, Dallas Brothers up there about Magic. New Magic sets will still print either classic staples or just new iterations on shit like a 3/3 for 3, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you have to make draft and stuff valid. Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't really constructed that way, so all of your pack filler is either like one-off weird legacy support, or it's going to be weird generic tech cards that probably don't do anything right now, but could. That could be something.
Yeah.
It could be a thing. I think he said that about that one new card in Cyber Support or whatever, Cyber Attack, that it's a Fire Warrior that while it's face up on the field makes all your opponent's monsters fire also. What does that do? I do not know.
It makes
But it
Super
does
Poly
something.
funny.
Yeah, it probably makes Super Poly plays funny. It does a lot of weird extension against fire decks.
See,
I do. You said that, Marth. I do hope they bring back Rashid or Odion's cards. Make Circuit and Tomb of the Kings like good again. Because he also had a really fun gimmick because he was trap
set
monsters.
and activate cards a turn they're set to. Just do it.
Yeah.
Also,
He
at
made
least
trap
Odeon was
monsters
an
good.
interesting character
it-
and did things.
If they do that and they combine that with Labyrinth, make it tier 0 Labyrinth.
There's a lot you could do for Labyrinth. I talked about this a lot while playing it last week on Mastery Duel. Some of these other decks in here, there's Branded Despia is still here. There's
Here's
there's
the
two
thing,
motherfuckers in this
Omega,
list playing
I'm
Sky
gonna be
Strikers.
very real. I do worry with Labyrinth because I do think it's an archetype that if Konami prints the wrong card, it will break in half.
Yes, it's gonna be right now, and I don't know with the new. I don't remember what her name is, but the new version of Lovely Lady that's coming out, the armored one. I don't remember what she does off the top of my head, but with, for instance, the Labyrinth cards that are out in Master Duel right now, Labyrinth is a very balanced deck. It lets you do a lot of stuff, but a lot of that stuff involves setting trap cards. Hey, guess what? None of the cards that are out in Master Duel let you activate trap cards at the turn you set them, so you get to recycle a lot of resource, but if you do it on your opponent's turn, or your opponent does some interruption on your turn, you can't really do anything about it. But
if they print a card that lets you do that, they have to make it so very.
They would have to explicitly say it only works on Labyrinth traps.
I would even go so much as this card only works if your deck contains 20 or more cards with the name Labyrinth.
Honestly, I
That'd
feel
be
like they should start making cards like
that would be
that.
a really
honestly.
awkward
Does-
check condition, but I would appreciate
I
it.
was about to say, you say that, the judges will have to comb through your entire deck.
Yeah,
I
I
it's
mean, they
a
already know your
rough one.
list.
Look, I'm of
You
the
know what?
opinion
You have to make your
deck
list before the game
lists should
starts.
be open regardless. So
Oh yeah, that was something.
Well, yeah,
I
you do have to submit your
remember.
deck list.
Remote duel. They had the head judge come around to say, "Hey, you will lose the game on one person because of illegal search."
look, Yu-Gi-Oh has had a lot more cheating problems than Magic for a very specific set of reasons.
I mean, do we have what is it, the shuffling cheat in Yu-Gi-Oh?
I mean, that
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh is interesting because they have an anime that explicitly talks about how some of those characters cheat. There's a
Also,
lot of
I feel
illegal
like-
plays in the fictional world of Yu-Gi-Oh that this card game is based on.
Yeah, there's that. There's only one time where in the anime, I think in Arc V, where the actual character checked out of the card by clicking on it in their dual screen hologram.
Also, I do feel like in Yu-Gi-Oh, the punishment for cheating is you're banned from tournaments. In Magic, if you cheated a tournament, they take you out behind back and break your kneecaps. Because
Good.
they're playing for real money.
Oh, it also reminds me of a thing of in Yu-Gi-Oh, card effects only exist as the person playing them explains them. Otherwise, they do not exist
Well,
and are
anime
not
isn't
possible
real,
to be
but
viewed.
That shouldn't count, especially the first season.
Okay, at least in like Zexal,
I mean,
they
Axe,
only
you
exist as you say them.
Axe, you say that, but like this literally came up in that Magical Hats episode that that MBT just posted because they were talking about the time rules. Like, Gage was on it. Basically, to pitch that show, if you don't know, it seems like MBT has got a thing where he's going to assemble a brain trust. The one he had for the first episode, and might be the continuous one, was himself, Farfa, Distant Coder, Gage, to kind of give it a balance of competitive play minds.
I'm in.
And he talked about the time rules, and Gage at least brought up, and some of the guys kind of hemmed and hawed about if he was right, but talked about how he went to Civic YCS, I think it was Pasadena, and it was just after like some cards had come out. I think it was just after Pote and Tyr had come out, and there was a lot of time lost because people were being like, hey, what does that card do? Like, that happens in real Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, admittedly, in real Yu-Gi-Oh! You can still stop and be like, hey, what does that card do? But, like, watch Master Saga or Master Roulette. How many times do, even not accounting for, like, I think, honestly, I don't want to slam Doug. I know MBT posted a video about that. Doug is, like, the best, worst Yu-Gi-Oh! Player there is. He is a...
Okay, listen,
He's
he's
the worst professional player I've ever seen.
He's a good pro player. He's a horrible casual player.
Yes. He is really good, apparently, at learning a specific deck and labbing it out. The problem is that he has not read a Yu-Gi-Oh card
Terrible
that is
limited.
not in his deck ever and is just...
And all of his archetypes are stunned.
And I think he gets bamboozled by chat too much. Like he admits that he doesn't know what he's doing with the deck and looks to chat to help him out. And as MBT points out, because he plays shit like History of Yu-Gi-Oh! And History of Jank and shit. By the way, go watch today's Jank episode. It's fucking stupid.
MBT is like a middling
Simo played
pro player.
a ritual card I have literally never heard of.
Oh,
I
what is it
watched
called?
that earlier today. Like, while I
What was it?
waiting for it.
I can't even say her name. It was something
Divine Grace Wenko?
Yeah, that was it. Loth Norwenko. Where like I've
Oh,
never
is it
heard of this
the-
card
is
before.
It the counter trap from hand or tool card?
No, that would be good.
Oh right, History of Jank. Sorry, I forgot.
Yes.
I'm
MBT was just.
getting-
You should go watch that episode, Dallas. If you hadn't, MBT was just out here playing Archfiend.
He was having a good time, actually.
I
So-
bet he was better than I was.
Probably, yeah, because it was a lot later. But yeah, like MBT, because he does a lot of these series and he plays lots of dumb decks like that. He has his own prog series. He did, is almost caught up on. They're pretty close to wrapping up.
Also,
He's
even
played a
when
lot
he
of
does-
weird limited formats and understands generally a lot of weird archetypes. He played a lot of 10-minute testings and shit before as well.
I'll say this. Also, I think it's a market that, like, even if you look at his like quote unquote professional, like career, because he hasn't done nearly as well, but his deck choices are very varied. Whereas even though Dazif has run multiple archetypes, there is a common thread.
Yes.
Like he's run Altergeist,
It's
Spirit Stun.
a difference between like MBT is a very broad player of Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't think I'm as good as he is, but I feel like I am a similar. Like MBT's really good at looking at a lot of different decks, and he's just like, this deck catches my fancy. I'll buy all Flower Cardians and play them in paper.
He's like me,
Ah,
but
Flower
sane.
Cardian sucks. Move on. I'll play something else. Whereas Dazif is like a deep Yu-Gi-Oh player. He picks one deck for like a whole format and like learns those lines and focuses down.
Which is really good in like a tier format where it's entirely based on how good you're playing the deck.
Yes,
I feel
but
like MBT is
in
I feel like he's very similar to me, except he knows restraint.
sometimes he knows restraint. He has absolutely played cards just because they're funny. But yeah, like in Master Roulette, you can see these kinds of plays go on and be like, yeah, okay, like we rag gently on Doug because he knows sometimes he's not paying attention, he's not reading, or he reads a card and he doesn't remember how Master Rules work. I remember the Smile World incident, but MBT does this as well. When you're just playing random Yu-Gi-Oh cards you dug up out of the back room, you're like, wait, this does what? What does that sentence say? And hell, we know this, right? We played 81 fucking weeks of Prague, of our progression tournament. How many times did we go, wait, why can't I do this? This card does what? What's happening right now?
I remember when like I was starting to feel dehydrated when I was playing against Dallas. I was
I
like,
feel
I'm
like
reading
that's
this
my-
card,
yeah,
and I read
every
it
one of
3
my
times,
biggest
but like I
reactions.
misunderstood it 5 different ways, and it's like, what
Yeah,
the fuck
no,
is wrong
like-
with me?
You somehow missed the
Yeah.
one card.
So, like, to tie back this into the point
Look-
Axe made,
look
that
at the
is kind of how
exam.
real Yu-Gi-Oh works. Like, obviously, you do possess the ability to stop the game and read your opponent's card, but there's so many
Sometimes
ways
it
you can
doesn't
be
make
like,
it
what
until
the
they
fuck does
say
this
it.
card do?
Listen, I honestly believe this. In like some seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh, cards do not have effects until their person that owns them says what they are.
Well, also they just don't like. I'll point it. I'll just say the example because I will never not quote this. I fire my catapult turtle at your castle's flotation ring. What does
I
that
mean, in general, I think that's just because the Duelist Kingdom rules were not Yu-Gi-Oh rules. They were like a weird RPG copy rules. Like,
You can play those actually. It's actually kind of cool. We have to
Alright,
learn about. We have to learn grid
anyway,
fields.
we've been we have crossed the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much for
Yes.
staying extra chat, but we should probably wrap it up. We talked a lot about what the OCG and TCG is doing. I will say, like, much love to Doug, that he continues to
Yes.
post a series week after week where, especially these days, it was a lot more even early on, but these days he gets clowned on by MBT pretty regularly. Though he's been on a little bit of a streak lately. He's coming back. He still makes these episodes every week and posts them, and it's great fun. It reminds me how much I fucking love limited formats in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, obviously not
I'll
everybody
say
wants to play
this.
that way, but Master Roulette every week is a treat.
I mean, I will
Mr.
say this.
Chief is-
Well, let Dallas finish.
Oh, sorry.
I
Yeah,
just
he
want
was
to say this because
first.
I did rag on the man quite harshly. Mr. Zeef might be the least egotistical pro card player I've ever met. or
He is
ever
just
seen.
kind of a nice lad. He's what a nice gentleman
Seems
he
more
is.
mellow, yeah.
Well, I'm more means like he's just okay with looking stupid, and doesn't make excuses for himself. He usually just is like, "Oh, I'm stupid." Like,
I
literally
didn't
in the moment, it's like,
Well,
"Oh my
I
God."
mean, yeah. If you've ever watched Master Saga, which is his Master Duel progression type series with Farfa, he's turned the MBT sub into a joke. Like he
Yes.
owns up to it. When MBT reacts to that stream, DZF is there and gifts him the subs. Like he understands that they have this dynamic where him and Farfa don't remember to read cards
He
because
literally,
they
he literally
vaguely
forced
understand
MBT on the show for like their season 2 finale.
Yeah, it works. And I think it's Crush Card who edits Master Saga. Crush Card will take clips of MBT and insert them back into Master Saga. It's a whole
Yes.
thing. It's a great time. You should check out those series. They're really good.
It's
It
an
makes me
abusing
wish that
Ouroboros.
I had a. It makes me wish I had a bigger budget. I would love to do like a Master Roulette or Master Saga style show in Master Duel because
I
it's.
think if we had a budget,
easier?
we might be able to get more subscribers.
Well, we'll see. We're trying new shit.
But,
The shorts seem to work. But thanks so much for those of you who were here to tune in to.
Wait. There's one last thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it.
From one, so for a thing we tested, Omega, I feel like from every 1v1 limited series thing, there is always going to be one person that actually pulls something effective, and then the person that just pulls garbage.
Well, we'll see. But
And
yeah,
I think that's just what it is sometimes.
It was my fault. I went against you. As Loth said earlier, you are our SEMO.
That deck I played was still trash, but it had something that it did a thing.
Well, I was playing vampires, so I was fucked from the beginning.
Your deck was cooler
Yeah.
than mine.
Well, I appreciate that. But so to wrap up, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to give us a bigger budget, consider supporting us on Patreon. We do have a patron poll. Let me double check that. I believe that if there's any, it should be closed. I'm pretty sure Harpy won, but I will double check. You guys
So we get
decided
to
you
cover
like the
Harpy
birds,
next.
but you liked bird tits better than bird pants.
Chat.
Yes,
I
Harpy
also
won
like
with
my
7.
boobies.
Loth, you'll be happy. Malefic got a single vote.
Yay!
And
The pity
Spiral
vote.
was the number 2 with 4. Blackwing still had 3 votes though, so some people were really trying to give it to
Put
us.
in for this poll.
You were Gimmick Puppet, which got 2 votes.
All right. Did I get a
Yeah.
vote?
Yeah, you got 2.
Yep.
Oh wow. I'm surprised.
But Harpy pulled very firmly into the beginning, so that'll be
Guessing at least one vote for Spyro was from Max.
possibly. Axe doesn't always vote for his own stuff.
I don't remember
I
what
think
I voted
looking at the
for.
list of archetypes, Axe you probably did vote for Spiral out of these 5, but you don't always
Yes.
do that. But yeah,
I think so.
I just don't
Check
wanna
that
do
out in a week or
Blackwing
2.
because I'm gonna piss off your audience.
How so? Just gonna
'Cause
yell
it'll
about.
just be me shitting on 5Ds.
Honestly, that's okay. I think most people understand that 5Ds is as good as they thought it was.
I hate it so much.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You can chat. You can like the first half of that series. It's okay.
It's
That's true.
alright if you shit on Arc the Crow instead of
Well, it
Arc
turns
the
out-
Crow.
I also feel like, actually, honestly, Dallas, I do feel like a lot of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom don't like Crow. Like,
It's just kind of
I
whatever.
don't hate Crow.
They-
I just think he's a boring character.
I feel like a
think
lot
it's
of
because-
people accuse him of like
stealing the keys
stealing
of
the spotlight,
Spyro.
yeah.
I think because initially like Crow was intentionally. I think I know people say about the rumor, but I still believe like he was initially going to be a dark signer, but then he got popular, but they want to keep him as a main character.
I think that's
It's
still
possible.
a rumor.
There was
Let me talk here.
Yeah, go for it.
There was an art book that released for 5Ds, which they showed a 5th, I think, character that they never used in the show that looked like it might have been part of the main cast, a male character.
Interesting. That may
Okay,
mean that they
cool.
moved some stuff around. But yeah, so that was our. If you want to vote in that poll, we do that once a month on Patreon at the 5 and up level. You can get access to other stuff by supporting us on Patreon, including the fact that, like I said, I'll probably do like a free version this month, but I'm probably planning on beta testing some other polls to like do bonus streams, which Master Duel will probably be on there. You guys can watch me suffer through Master Duel ladders if you vote on it. So I'll probably brew that one up in the not too
I
distant
really
future.
want to do. I really think we should do a brain trust Master Duel stream where it's just like we
Let
just become-
Omega fucking end the stream, you bitch.
Wow. Okay, there was an extra word in there, but I appreciate the front half.
I mean, he's Australian. He has a condition.
It's true. He does have a condition. Australia, they just all have Tourette's down there. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. You can also support us
Omega
through
said it, not me. Send your hate mail to studioomega@gmail.
I keyed. In-game /S. You can also support us through channel memberships. Get access to membership badges and emotes, which you can display on stream. You can consider dropping us a super chat or a super thanks as well if you want to just give us some juice, go on there. But just in general, you can support us just by watching. Thank you so much for everybody for watching. And go back and watch previous fail portrayals if this is your first one. We've done a fuck ton of this. We've been doing this for like 2 years almost, I think. Well before Master Duel came out, we were doing these. I also have a very extensive number of Master Duel stream archives. You want to check those out. So, hell, I'll recommend it. We did 81 weeks of Prague before our schedules got absolutely fucked, and there were only like the 5 of us who are in this call now, maybe, which is not very good for a tournament format. I guess we could, if we really wanted to bring it back, we could do what MBT and his crew ended up doing and do like a round robin thing, but we'll figure that out another time because I know Dallas isn't available a lot either, and Axe also has another job now, so like it's tough. Scheduling as adults is tough.
Job, but I have a job now.
But going through those 81 weeks, we had a lot of fun, and there's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh being played. We also have a lot of not fun sometimes, but
just do it.
Fun is a thing we have to discover sometimes.
Sometimes we have to make our own fun, but you, the audience, might have some fun. So check those out as well.
Yeah.
That is everything. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm not going to stop talking until I say all this stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Good night, everyone. I'm ending the stream.
Bye.